Han Yuan-jun answered with a straight face. We're dating now. Isn't it normal to celebrate? Liang Zixuan nodded, then smiled slyly. I just didn't expect someone your age to be this into it. You're quite something. Age? Han Yuan-jun immediately reached out and pinched her cheek. You think I'm old, huh? Ha! Baby, looks like I'll have to find some time to show you what I'm really capable of. He wasn't just bragging. Even with his busy schedule, he never slacked on training. And someone with his background had too many enemies. Since childhood, he'd been taught to keep his body in top shape. His physical fitness was no joke. Liang Zixuan froze, then realized she'd really said the wrong thing. Last night, when he'd walked out half-dressed, she'd seen those defined muscles with her own eyes. She laughed weakly. No need. I've already seen it. That's nothing, Han Yuan-jun murmured, leaning close to her ear. His voice dropped, warm and low. You'll only know my real strength in bed. Liang Zixuan. Couldn't she just admit she was wrong and move on? Han Yuan-jun drove in Alara's parking lot and let her inside. The manager spotted him right away and hurried over, respectfully greeting. Young Master Han, Miss Jiang has already arrived. Han Yuan-jun nodded, and the manager guided them toward a private room. Liang Zixuan hesitated. You invited someone else too? Was this what he called a celebration? Han Yuan-jun slipped an arm around her shoulders and lowered his voice. When we go in later, don't worry about saving my face. Just do whatever you want to do. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. Don't be afraid of her. So that was it. He brought her here to block the gun for him. Liang Zixuan finally understood and gave his waist a sharp pinch. Didn't you say this was our celebration? He jerked from the pain. It is. I'm celebrating. After tonight, that lingering problem would finally be gone. From tomorrow onward, no one would bother him about it again. Why wouldn't he celebrate? Before she could retort, they arrived at the private room. The manager opened the door. Inside, Jiang Ning's face lit up when she saw Han Yuan-jun. Her eyes sparkled, but the moment she noticed Liang Zixuan beside him, her smile faltered. Who was this woman? Then she dismissed the thought. Whoever she was, it didn't matter. It's not like she could really be his girlfriend. Brother Jun, Jiang Ning called sweetly. Her syrupy tone made goosebumps rise on Liang Zixuan's arms. She turned her head and squinted at Han Yuan-jun, lips curling in amusement. Brother Jun, Han Yuan-jun's expression stiffened. Jiang Ning, don't call me that. My girlfriend is very possessive. I don't want her to misunderstand. Kneeling on a washboard at home was the least of his worries. What if she dumped him? Jiang Ning faltered for a moment, then looked Liang Zixuan up and down. She smiled, clearly unconvinced. Brother Jun, you're not just grabbing some random little girl to fool me, right? She didn't think Liang Zixuan was particularly stunning. Someone like her, beautiful, well-born, and close to the Han family. How could Han Yuan-jun not notice her? Liang Zixuan also took a moment to study Jiang Ning. Big eyes, double eyelids, thin lips, textbook beauty. The suit she was wearing definitely wasn't cheap. A woman personally turned down by Han Yuan-jun would never be ordinary. She was definitely from a powerful family. But Liang Zixuan wasn't intimidated at all. She didn't even bother pretending to be polite. Little girl, was it? Fine. Then she wouldn't be polite either. She hugged Han Yuan-jun's arm, smiled sweetly, and asked, Jun, who is this Annie? She sounds very fierce. Han Yuan-jun almost laughed out loud. His girl really was impressive. He held it in and said seriously, This is Jiang Ning. Her father is the CEO of SAIC International and an acquaintance of mine. But we're not close. Just a nodding relationship when we run into each other. He explained quickly, as if afraid Liang Zixuan would misunderstand. Jiang Ning's face turned green. She hadn't expected the woman he brought to have such a sharp tongue. Just one sentence, and she felt like she'd been stabbed in the lungs. No matter what, she refused to believe this girl was his girlfriend. Not in this life. In her eyes, the only person qualified to be Han Yuan-jun's girlfriend was her. No matter what you say, Brother Jun, we're still childhood sweethearts, Jiang Ning said pitifully. Growing up, whenever there was something good to eat, you always gave it to me first. That's because it fell on the ground, Han Yuan-jun replied calmly. I didn't want it, and I couldn't give it to my brothers, so I gave it to you." Liang Zixuan burst out laughing. Jiang Ning's expression darkened. Her eyes widened with anger. "Every time we went out, you wouldn't let me order my own drink, and always gave me yours." Han Yuanjun raised an eyebrow. "That's because the drink was mine first, but Zhang Feng spat in it every time. No one else would drink it, so I gave it to you instead." Liang Zixuan was laughing so hard tears almost came out. Just what had Jiang Ning done to earn this kind of retaliation? Han Yuanjun, on the other hand, looked deeply wronged. Those things happened so long ago. "Jiang Ning, even if you hate me, you shouldn't twist the story like this in front of my girlfriend, right? A person should still be kind and honest." Liang Zixuan. Jiang Ning. Liang Zixuan felt that even if she didn't lift a finger, Han Yuanjun alone was enough to send Jiang Ning into a frenzy. Sure enough, Jiang Ning was so furious she was practically shaking. Her face flushed red, fists clenched at her sides. Seeing he'd said everything that needed to be said, Han Yuanjun gently tugged Liang Zixuan to her feet. "Since you dislike me so much, you probably don't want to eat with me. My girlfriend and I will leave first." With that, he walked out with Liang Zixuan. Jiang Ning slammed her hand on the table and glared at the closing door. "Han Yuanjun, when did I ever say I hate you?" As they stepped out of the private room, Jiang Ning's angry scream echoed from behind the door. Liang Zixuan tilted her head up at Han Yuanjun and smiled. "She doesn't hate you at all. She's clearly very into you." Han Yuanjun pressed his lips together. "That's her problem. What does it have to do with me?" With this man's attitude, anyone he didn't like would just be asking for heartbreak. He couldn't even be bothered to put on a polite act. Liang Zixuan suddenly felt a rush of gratitude. Fortunately, she was the one he liked. Before today, she had always lacked a sense of security with Han Yuanjun. There were just too many women hovering around him. Even if he wasn't interested, they still clung to him like moths to a flame. Who could guarantee that he would remain completely unmoved forever? But after seeing how he treated Jiang Ning today, she felt for the first time that this was a man she could trust. If even a beauty like Jiang Ning was dismissed so coldly, his attitude toward other women would probably be even more ruthless. Han Yuanjun took her to another private room and ordered a whole table of dishes, then had a bottle of red wine opened. He lifted his glass. "I really did bring you here to celebrate." He smiled gently at her. "Just the two of us." Liang Zixuan glanced at her wine, as if checking something. "You're sure no one spat in this, right?" Han Yuanjun. He reached out and flicked her lightly on the forehead. "You little troublemaker." Thinking back to Jiang Ning's expression earlier, Liang Zixuan couldn't help laughing. "You can't blame me. You sounded way too convincing back there." Han Yuanjun replied seriously. "I wasn't joking. I really did those things." Liang Zixuan. So that wasn't just something he made up to anger Jiang Ning? Just how exciting had his childhood been? She rubbed her forehead and stared at him. "You really don't know how to treat women. No wonder you never had a girlfriend before." Han Yuanjun looked at her with a soft smile. "It's not that I don't know how. I've just never met anyone worth treating well. Luckily, I met you." Liang Zixuan froze. The words, "luckily, I met you," sparked something in her mind. She quickly pulled out her phone, opened her music app, and her fingers began flying across the screen. That line, "luckily I met you." In her previous life, she had written the theme song for a movie. When she heard it in the cinema, she'd always felt something was missing. The sad part when the leads broke up worked well, but when they reunited, the mood never quite turned sweet enough. Now, with that one line from Han Yuanjun, a new melody suddenly surfaced in her head. Han Yuanjun had just finished confessing when he saw her take out her phone and completely ignore him. His face darkened. He stood up, walked around the table, and leaned over to look. This little girl was actually working. Grinding his teeth, he said, "Baby, we're on a date." "I know," Liang Zixuan answered, fingers still tapping nonstop. "But when you said that just now, I got inspired." "Don't disturb me, I'm almost done." Han Yuanjun. Was he supposed to be happy? Or choke her? In the end, he decided to forgive her. She did say he inspired her, after all. A short while later, Liang Zixuan finally finished and put her phone away. Resting her chin in her hands, she smiled at him. Before this, my songs might have sounded light, but they never felt sweet. After meeting you, I finally know what sweetness is. Music was like life, sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy. Liang Zixuan had never really tasted sweetness before, so most of the songs she wrote carried a subtle sadness. Back when she was with Ho Ying-yi in her past life, she'd written some light tunes, but even then, she didn't understand what true sweetness felt like. Han Yuanjun looked at her with eyes full of affection, then began placing food into her bowl. From now on, I'll only let you taste sweetness. No more bitterness or spiciness. When Jiang Ning returned home, she slammed her door shut and threw herself onto the bed, sobbing. Her mother, Liao Yin, stood outside, heart aching as she listened to her daughter cry. She knocked anxiously. Ning, what's wrong? Tell Mom. Don't keep it bottled up. You'll make yourself sick crying like this. Normally, Jiangming relied on her mother the most. She almost told her everything. She stumbled to the door, opened it, and the moment she saw Liao Yin, she dove in her arms and wailed, "Mom, Han Yuanjun actually brought another woman just to embarrass me tonight." What? Liao Yin's anger shot straight to her chest. He brought a woman to humiliate you? Why? Doesn't he know you've stayed pure all these years and never even had a boyfriend? That only made Jiang Ning cry harder. Thinking of all the sacrifice she'd made over the years, she choked out, "Mom, you know how much I've endured for him. I don't care. I'm going to marry Han Yuanjun. If I can't marry him, then I won't live anymore." Liao Yin was frightened. She grabbed her shoulders. "Don't talk nonsense. He's not the only man in this world. With your background, you can have any man you want. Don't throw your life away over him." "But I only love Han Yuanjun," Jiang Ning sobbed. "I've liked him for so many years. I won't give up. Mom, if you don't help me, I'll die." With that, she pushed Liao Yin away and rushed toward the wall as if she really planned to crash into it. Terrified, Liao Yin caught her and cried out, all right, Mom will help you. I'll talk to your father and have him go to the Han family and ask for a marriage proposal." The moment she heard that, Jiang Ning's tears stopped almost instantly. She clung to Liao Yan's arm, eyes still red but voice coquettish. "No, that won't work. You know how the Han family is. They're very open-minded. If Han Yuanjun doesn't agree, it's useless no matter who goes to talk. Mom, have Dad talk to his uncle instead and arrange for me to work at Han Group. I'll find my own chance there." Liao Yin frowned. "What are you planning?" A cold light flashed in Jiang Ning's eyes, and a twisted smile appeared on her lips. "I don't believe that once I get him into bed, he'll still dare go back on his word. He'll have to marry me."
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Liao Yan's heart pounded when she heard Jiang Ning's words. She looked at her daughter with a look that was hard to express in words. Her daughter was the princess of the Jiang family, but she wanted to go to Han Group Media to become a lowly employee. This Han Yuanjun really didn't know what's good for himself. He's actually forcing her daughter to this extent. Liao Yan gritted her teeth in anger. She immediately turned around and went to her husband to tell him about this. There's a movie town in Imperial City, and although it was not as big as the movie town of Shenhua City, many producers like to shoot movies and took pictures in this movie town. Fan Zipei escorted Liang Zixuan and Zheng Zhilan to the place in Liang Zixuan's new MPV. Coincidentally, it was a break time. Su Jingxiang was the first to notice Liang Zixuan. He raised his hand and shouted, "Liang Zixuan, this way." There were about 100 crew members. Liang Zixuan followed the voice and looked up. When she saw that Su Jingxiang was not wearing a shirt, he just sat behind the camera bare-chested. Her eyelids jumped violently. She thought to herself, how did the actresses in this film crew put up with his behavior? Director Su. Liang Zixuan looked at him and then looked away with embarrassment. Seeing her like that, Su Jingxiang finally reacted. He quickly picked up the shirt next to him and put it on. Don't mind me, it's too hot here. Zhang Zhilan pursed her lips and smiled. No wonder there were no actresses around when they first came in. They were probably shy. Liang Zixuan took out her cell phone and turned on the audio. Director Su, please listen to this. Su Jingxiang held Liang Zixuan's phone close to his ear and listened intently. As he listened, his eyes narrowed. Not bad at all. Liang Zixuan. At this moment, Qin Yu walked from the rest area and happily held Liang Zixuan's arm. How come you have the time to visit the crew today? Liang Zixuan smiled and said, Last night, I suddenly got inspired, so I wrote music for director Su to hear. Upon hearing that, Qin Yu immediately put her ear close to the phone. She was so focused on listening to music that she caught the attention of Gu Shengli. What are you listening to? Qin Yu made a shooing gesture with her hand, asking him not to speak. Gu Shengli also curiously leaned over to listen. Coincidentally, the music had finished playing. Su Jingxiang returned the phone to Liang Zixuan. Liang Zixuan, it's not bad. Just as Liang Zixuan was about to speak, Gu Shengli looked at her and immediately reacted. This is Liang Zixuan, our new music director that director Su found? Liang Zixuan nodded politely. That's me. TCH. Gu Shengli's face was filled with disdain. I thought she was some famous musician, so she was a rookie. I never heard of her before. Director Su, I'm introducing you to a first-tier musician, yet you chose to find such a rookie. Back then, I only accepted this movie for the sake of Yi Tenzin's reputation. Yi Tenzin was the previous music director, and he was currently lying in the hospital. Gu Shengli, on the other hand, was a rising star with a large number of fans following him. He was like the sun in the sky. Otherwise, how could he have been so arrogant? Su Jingxiang frowned in annoyance. Gu Shengli, have you heard the phrase, don't judge a book from its cover? Liang Zixuan may be young, but her music is very good, very suitable for the theme of our film. I can say that throughout the music industry, there is no one more suitable than her. Even Yi Tenzin might not be better at it than her. Since Su Zhengxiang had already said so, what else can Gu Shengli say? He was the director, and the director decided everything that was in the film. But Gu Shengli was still not sure. He glanced at Liang Zixuan. Where's your song? Get to me to listen to. His attitude was arrogant. Liang Zixuan refused to lower herself to his level and gave him her cell phone. Gu Shengli took the phone, clicked on the music, and listened to it. A beautiful music coming out of the phone. Gu Shengli was actually able to figure out the film's plot just by listening to the music. He looked at Liang Zixuan in surprise. This is the piece of music that is going to play on our reunion scene? Liang Zixuan nodded. Yes. Gu Shengli pursed his lips and returned the phone to her. I didn't expect you to have such a deep understanding of movie plots. Qin Yu asked with a smile. How is it? You got a new feeling by listening to this music, right? Gu Shengli was a bit embarrassed and said stubbornly, It's okay. Looking at his expression, it was obvious that he was impressed by Liang Zixuan's music. But too bad this man's ego was too big. Qin Yu walked Liang Zixuan outside and held her hand, saying, Zixuan, don't mind Gu Shengli. He is a proud and arrogant man, and his words are always unpleasant to hear. When he first found out that I was acting as a female lead, he even mocked me. Upon learning about my identity with Han Yuanjun, he started to curry favor with me again. Liang Zixuan always hated the fact that the entertainment circle always held people in high regard. It was tough for someone who didn't have any background to rise above the crowd. And what had happened just now, if she got angry because of a single provoking sentence from Gu Shengli, then she wouldn't be able to survive in this circle anymore. She had long been angered to death. It's fine. I've been mentally prepared for this. Anyway, I don't have any cooperation with him. After you're done filming, I'll join the production team and work with the director for the final stage of production. Liang Zixuan smiled indifferently. Qin Yu really liked Liang Zixuan's attitude. Her uncle really had good eyes. How can he find an extraordinary woman like her? People without glass hearts were easy to get along with. If something happens, don't hold it to yourself. Find me, or better yet, find my uncle. He will definitely support you. Qin Yu felt that Liang Zixuan's attitude towards Gu Shengli was too good. If that were her, she would definitely embarrass him on the spot. Liang Zishuan smiled and nodded. All right, I understand. Since Liang Zishuan went to the crew, she certainly had no idea what was going on at the company. At 10 o'clock in the morning, Han Shuang took Jiang Ning straight to the top level. He went to Han Yuanjuan's office and found no one there, so he led Jiang Ning to the secretary's office. Knocking on Yu Lian's desk, he asked, "Where is Han Yuanjun?" Yu Lian was about to say who dares to call Han Yuanjuan's name directly, but just as she was about to open her mouth and saw Han Shuang, she immediately put on a fawning expression. President Han is in the middle of the meeting. Why don't you wait in the conference room next door? Although Han Shuang did not have a position in Han Group Media, he still considered a minority shareholder and blood-related uncle of Han Yuanjun. There was hardly anyone in the secretary's room who didn't know him. Han Shuang glanced at the other secretaries and found that they all looked at him respectfully, which made him very satisfied. I'm busy. How do I have time to wait for him here? He pulled Jiang Ning over. This is the precious daughter of the SAIC International CEO. She just returned from studying abroad. When Han Yuanjun returns later, tell him to let Jiang Ning go to the music department. At least give her the position of supervisor. Jiang Ning shyly looked at Han Shuang and humbly said, Uncle Han, I can't be said to be that good. Previously, I only helped great Hollywood directors to make some movies. I don't need a supervisor position. I just need to be a musician. Su Yong and the two secretaries exchanged glances as they sneered in their hearts. This person was really not modest at all. She had only helped the great director of Hollywood to produce a few movies. That's all. Did she think that all employees in Han Group Media were all a bunch of bumpkins who had not stepped onto the international stage? Hearing that Jiang Ning had a strong background, Yu Lian beamed with joy. So it's Miss Jiang. All right, I'll definitely pass the message to the president. And Han Shuang nodded contentedly and stressed. She's back from Hollywood. Even if she doesn't want to be a supervisor, at least Han Yuanjun should give her a separate studio for assistance. Also, make sure Han Yuanjun doesn't neglect her. Yu Lian kept nodding her head. Yes. Don't worry. I'll definitely pass the message. Su Yong was speechless. A single studio with 4 assistants. What's the difference between this and a supervisor? Only someone with a supervisor's position can have 4 assistants. Wasn't this Han Shuang deliberately making things difficult for them? Luckily, Yu Lian accepted the job. Otherwise, if it were them, no one would say those words to Han Yuanjun. Jiang Ning was the same. She said that she didn't want to be a supervisor, but her demands were no less than that of a supervisor. Wasn't this person so shameless? Han Shuang patted Jiang Ning on the shoulder and said with a smile, Then you can wait for him here for a while. I'll go first. If anything happens or anyone dares to slander you, just call me. I'll make the decision for you. Jiang Ning smiled sweetly and said obediently, Okay, thank you, Uncle Han. Don't thank me. Han Shuang laughed loudly. After all, you're going to be in our family sooner or later. Yu Yin's face stiffened when she heard this. She felt extremely regretful in her heart. So this was a woman who would fight with her for the position of the president's wife. She actually wanted to hug this woman's leg just now. After sending Han Shuang away, Yu Lian saw that she could use Jiang Ning as a gun for her to handle Liang Zixuan. So, after bringing Jiang Ning to the small conference room, Yu Lian poured a cup of coffee for Jiang Ning and sat down next to her. Yu Lian maintained a flattering smile on her face the entire time. Miss Jiang, when you go to the music department, you have to be careful. Jiang Ning sipped her coffee and looked at Yu Lian in disdain. Should I be careful with other people? I'm afraid other people should be careful with me, right? Didn't you hear what Han Shuang said just now? If someone dared to bully me, he would help me. Besides, I am the future wife of the president. Who dares to bully me? Yes. Yu Lian cursed Jiang Ning in her heart, but she was still trying to curry favor with her. She rubbed her hands together and intentionally looked outside before turning her head and saying mysteriously, although Miss Jiang has a backer, have you heard the saying it's easy to target your enemy in the front, but it's hard to avoid them if they hid in the dark? Jiang Ning was actually not stupid. When she heard that Yu Lian was trying to use her to get rid of other people, she slammed her coffee cup on the table and looked at Yu Lian while sneering. What are you trying to say? Yu Lian's face stiffened. This Jiang Ning was not as stupid as she thought. But since she had already said that, she could only bite the bullet and said, there is someone named Liang Zixuan in the music department who is in charge of Qin Yu's album. President Han is taking care of her with great care. Jiang Ning was stunned and immediately interrupted. Liang Zixuan? Are you talking about Liang Zixuan? Seeing her reaction, Yu Lian felt a surge of joy in her heart. She hurriedly asked, does Miss Jiang know her? How can I not know that bitch? Jiang Ning sneered. I thought she was someone special, but she's just a small employee of Han Group. She's so shamelessly calling me Annie. Yu Lian didn't know what happened between Jiang Ning and Liang Zixuan, but she couldn't help laughing in her heart after hearing Liang Zixuan calling Jiang Ning Annie. Liang Zixuan was really making enemies everywhere. Yu Lian did not even need to use any tricks. Just using Liang Zixuan to offend these people was enough for her to get kicked out. Yu Lian suppressed her laughter and added on, Miss Jiang, don't underestimate her. Furthermore, according to reliable sources, Liang Zixuan even had a relationship with a person called He Zimu from the music department. The two of them even teamed up to force away manager Xiang's cousin. This woman is really capable. You must be careful. TCH, Jiang Ning sneered. So she's just a woman who relies on her body. I thought she's very strong. Just wait. I will not let her live a good life. After the meeting ended, Han Yuanjun passed this small conference room. Jiang Ning saw him and stood up happily, running like a little bird. Brother Jun. Hearing this voice, Han Yuanjun's scalp went numb, and his whole body immediately went rigid. Didn't he tell her last night? Why did she come to his company today? How could Jiang Ning be so shameless? Han Yuanjun turned around and looked at Jiang Ning. Seeing her run towards him, he deliberately took a step back to open a safe distance between them. Why are you here? Didn't I explain it to you last night? Jiang Ning was about to pretend that she was wronged in front of Han Yuanjun, but Yu Lian quickly stepped forward, not missing out on this opportunity to show her face, and quickly said, Miss Jiang was brought here by Mr. Han Shuang. He asked the president to arrange for Miss Jiang to go to the music department, give her own studio, and also have 4 assistants. Jiang Ning was not happy in her heart, but she could not show it in front of Han Yuanjun. She pretended to be considerate and said, Brother Jun, if this arrangement is difficult for you, then I'm in a difficult position. Han Yuanjun didn't give her any face. Why did you come to Han Group instead of being a spoiled princess's daughter? You are a great existence, and I couldn't accept people like you here. Jiang Ning's face turned green and red, looking like a chameleon. Yu Lian couldn't help but laugh as she watched on the side, silently giving a thumbs up to Han Yuanjun in her heart. Jiang Ning pouted sadly. Brother Jun, I didn't learn to manage a business. Going to my dad's company won't help much. Instead, I choose to come here so that I can help you. No need, Han Yuanjun said coldly. There are more than 100 assistants in the music department, and there is no shortage of people. She was here to be a musician, not an assistant. Jiang Ning finally understood that Han Yuanjun was purposely making things difficult for her. For the sake of love, she became shameless. I came to Han Group Media because of Han Shuang. Even if Brother June didn't want to give me a face, at least you should give your uncle some faces, right? Han Yuanjun frowned. He took out his phone and dialed Han Shuang's number. Han Shuang refused to accept it because he knew what Han Yuanjun would say to him. Han Yuanjun looked at Jiang Ning's proud expression and slightly squinted his eyes. It seemed like this woman didn't know what was good for her. Instead of letting Jiang Ning bother him like this and cause misunderstandings between him and Liang Zixuan in the future, he might as well throw her into the music department so Liang Zixuan can take care of her. Based on Liang Zixuan's sharp tongue and the way she sometimes scratched people with her little kitten's claws, Han Yuanjun didn't believe that she wouldn't kill Jiang Ning in a rage. All right, Han Yuanjun kept his phone. Yao Xiao, bring Miss Jiang to the music department and arrange everything for her. When Yao Xiao heard this, he was stunned. He even wondered if he had misheard. Was Han Yuanjun really going to send such a rich young miss to the music department? This woman was obviously interested in him. Was Liang Zixuan not jealous? Han Yuanjun stared at him. Are you still not going? Yao Xiao immediately reacted and gestured at Jiang Ning. Miss Jiang, please. Jiang Ning pouted unhappily. Brother Jun, come with me. How shameless. Even asking Han Yuanjun to accompany her. Han Yuanjun glanced at her. No matter who you are, in Han Group Media, call me the president. Do you think this company is just some kind of relationship between you and me? Jiang Ning's face turned pale. She felt so wrong that her eyes turned red. Was she just a dog in his heart? She had chased him for 15 years. 15 years of waiting, and she only got this kind of treatment? Jiang Ning clenched her hands into fists and dug her nails into her palms. She felt as if her heart was about to break from the pain. Han Yuanjun didn't even care to look at her as he entered his office. Yao Xiao urged gloomily, Miss Jiang, the president is very busy. There's so many things to do. Let me accompany you. Jiang Ning glared at Yao Xiao angrily before she turned around and left. On the way back to the company, Liang Zixuan felt a chill run down her spine. When she arrived at the company, she finally understood why she always felt that way. Almost everyone gathered around Jiang Ning to recommend themselves as her assistant. They wanted to be her assistants. Jiang Ning sat in the middle and looked at them proudly, but she didn't say who she wanted. Liang Zixuan thought about how, when she first arrived, they all refused to be her assistant. Compared to Jiang Ning, who was now the center of attention, she looked very miserable. Zhang Zhilan was puzzled. Who is that? Why is everyone surrounding her? Liang Zixuan scoffed. That's the daughter of SAIC International CEO, and I heard that she'd also be his successor in the future. What? Zhang Zhilan was shocked. My goodness. Why did she come to our music department? Why? Liang Zixuan guessed that it was most likely directed at her. While she was thinking about this, Jiang Ning suddenly saw her. After giving her a disdainful look, her gaze landed on Zhang Zhilan's face. Zhang Zhilan felt a chill run down her spine when she saw the harsh look in Jiang Ning's eyes. Just as she was about to hide behind Liang Zixuan, Jiang Ning stood up, pushed away from the people who were blocking her, and walked towards them with big steps. Jiang Ning was tall, a little taller than Liang Zixuan, about 1.72 m tall. Standing in front of Liang Zixuan, she had a haughty and condescending air as she said to Zhang Zhilan, You'll be my assistant. Jiang Ning's commanding tone made Zhang Zhilan completely dumbstruck. What? Zhang Zhilan was shocked and pointed at herself. Me? Yes. Jiang Ning lifted her chin. Even if she said that to Zhang Zhilan, she looked at Liang Zixuan and smiled arrogantly. You could be my assistant. I won't treat you unfairly. Those who wanted to be Jiang Ning's assistants were so jealous that their eyes turned red. What the hell was Zhang Zhilan doing? Ever since she started following Liang Zixuan, Not only had her salary increased, she had even become a hot topic. Now, even Jiang Ning wanted her. Zhang Zhilan didn't feel like she had stepped on a gold sack, but a landmine. With Jiang Ning's disdainful gaze and haughty attitude, it was hard for them to get along. Zhang Zhilan smiled as she shook her head and said with a reserved attitude, "No need. It's fine for me to follow Liang Zishuan." Jiang Ning obviously did not expect Zhang Zhilan to reject her. Fearing that Zhang Zhilan did not know her identity, she reminded her, "I am the heir of SAIC International. Isn't it better that you follow me than Liang Zishuan, who has no background?" Zhang Zhilan blinked her eyes and revealed a foolish look on her face. "I know you're the daughter of SAIC International CEO, but this is Han Group Media. There is no reason not to follow the president's wife and go with the princess of another company, right?" It wasn't like she had her head pinched by a door. Besides, SAIC International was not even worth mentioning when compared to Han Group Media. Right now, she was working at Han Group Media, not SAIC International. Zhang Zhilan even thought that there must be something wrong with the brains of those who went to flatter Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning was almost angered to death by her. She turned around, looked at Liang Zishuan, and said as if she was the owner of Han Group Media, "Liang Zishuan, I want your assistant. You have to give her to me." Liang Zishuan laughed in anger. "Why should I? Since she's unwilling to follow you, don't tell me you want me to tie her up and give it to you?" "Jiang Ning, no matter what happens, it's always about your wishful thinking. If you keep going on like this, there will be no good ending for you." Jiang Ning was so angry that her neck stiffened. Liang Zishuan was obviously mocking her. When Han Yuanjun said that he didn't like her, she actually pestered him and went to work in the Han Group. Jiang Ning didn't understand where Liang Zishuan's confidence came from. She even dared to make fun of her in front of so many people. Jiang Ning asked with a darkened face, "Liang Zishuan, let me ask you for the last time, will you give her to me or not?" Liang Zishuan stood up straight and stuck out her chest, not giving it at all. "No. All right." Jiang Ning pointed at her and said, "If you don't give her to me, I'll find Zhu Sheng. I want to see how long you can continue to be arrogant." Seeing Jiang Ning go to Zhu Sheng's office confidently, Zhang Zhilan tugged at the corner of Liang Zishuan's dress and asked anxiously, "Zishuan, do you think Zhu Sheng would agree?" He Zimu also stood out from the crowd to persuade Liang Zishuan. "Liang Zishuan, why don't you bring Zhang Zhilan along with you to Director Zhu? Show him your stance." Liang Zishuan glanced at Zhu Sheng's office and smiled indifferently. "It's okay, let her go. We'll wait for the result." "What?" Zhang Zhilan looked at Liang Zishuan in surprise. Why did it always have to be them, the overseers, who were in a hurry every time? How come she, the emperor, was not in a hurry at all? Liang Zishuan returned to her seat and uploaded the audio from her phone to her computer. Then she backed it up with a USB flash drive. She already had a plan for the production of the soundtrack of the movies. After a while, Jiang Ning angrily walked out of Zhu Sheng's office. Zhang Zhilan immediately stood up from her seat and looked up nervously. Unexpectedly, Jiang Ning glared fiercely at Liang Zishuan before she turned around and left. Zhang Zhilan was so shocked and ran to Liang Zishuan's seat. She asked blankly, "What does that mean? Did Zhu Sheng promise her or not?" Liang Zishuan was busy with her work, so she said, "If Zhu Sheng had agreed to her request, she would have come and demanded of me." Since she turned around, it proved that Zhu Sheng had rejected her. "Really?" Zhang Zhilan was overjoyed. She wrapped her arms around Liang Zishuan's neck, so excited that she wanted to yell. "Great! I finally don't need to be afraid anymore. I'm afraid she only wants me because she wants me to reveal all your secrets." Liang Zishuan sneered in her heart. Jiang Ning was an arrogant woman and never treated anyone below her as a human being. She sounded as if she were the most amazing person in the world. Everyone had to listen to her. When Zhang Zhilan saw Liang Zishuan's expression, she couldn't help but ask, "Liang Zishuan, weren't you worried that Zhu Sheng would agree?" Liang Zishuan smiled faintly. "Of course. Although Jiang Ning has a lot of background, it's just as you said. This is Han Group Media. not SAIC International. Jiang Ning has a self-righteous look and doesn't put anyone in her eyes. Zhu Sheng will never let her get her way. In terms of arrogance, Zhu Sheng is probably more arrogant than anyone else. Unless the president personally brings it up, Zhu Sheng wouldn't let anyone show off in front of him. Who will tolerate their subordinates pointing fingers and ordering him to do this and that? It seemed that Jiang Ning had been badly spoiled. She always acted like she's on top of everyone else, but once she left her parents' protection, who would still spoil her? Liang Zixuan had long since known of this logic. When Zheng Zhilan heard her words, she thought about them seriously and felt that it made sense. No wonder Liang Zixuan didn't panic at all. She had long known the temperament of Zhu Sheng and Jiang Ning. Zheng Zhilan immediately expressed her admiration. Yao Xiu honestly reported this to Han Yuanjun. After Han Yuanjun heard this, he smiled happily. Liang Zixuan was not afraid of Jiang Ning, which made him very satisfied. This was precisely how his woman should feel. No matter who she faced, she would not lower her head. Help me keep an eye on Liang Zixuan. If anything happens to her, tell me immediately. Yao Xiu nodded and replied respectfully, Yes, President Han. Rest assured that I will keep an eye on her. Over the weekend, Han Yuanjun returned to the Han residence just in time. Just as he entered, old Madame Han could not help but look behind him. After searching for a while, she found that he was alone and immediately became unhappy. Brat, you really dare come back on your own? Han Yuanjun pretended not to understand and looked behind his shoulder before looking at old Madame Han innocently. Grandmother, if I didn't come back alone, should I come back with Big Brother? His big brother is in America. How could old Madame Han not know that Han Yuanjun was just making fun of her? She looked at him angrily. Where is your girlfriend? At this moment, everyone in the living room looked at Han Yuanjun. Ever since he revealed that he already had a girlfriend to old Madame Han, she was on the verge of setting off firecrackers to celebrate. So she opened her mouth to let everyone know. Now that everyone knew Han Yuanjun had a girlfriend, they were all extremely curious. Han Yuanjun walked towards them with his chest puffed out and sat beside old Madame Han. However, he just pursed his lips and smiled, not mentioning anything about his girlfriend at all. His mother, Tian Chihua, couldn't even stand his proud look and glared at him. What are you so proud of? Where's your girlfriend? The reason we're here today is to take a look at her. Stop dilly-dally. Hurry up and call your girlfriend here. Old Madame Han nodded. Right. Quickly call her. Don't hide her anymore. Han Yuanjun looked at his family that was behaving like wolves and tigers. He was really afraid that Liang Zixuan would be frightened when she saw them. Han Shiwang frowned and snorted. Don't tell me you don't have a girlfriend and are trying to trick us. Hearing Han Shiwang's voice, Han Yuanjun got annoyed. He looked at Han Shiwang with a face full of dissatisfaction. Uncle, I have no choice but to say this. Why did you bring Jiang Ning to Han Group Media? Everyone present knew that Han Shiwang had a good relationship with the Jiang family. Actually, old Madame Han and Tian Chihua didn't really like Jiang Ning, but Han Shiwang always brought her home as if she was his daughter-in-law. When old Madame Han heard that Jiang Ning went to Han Group Media, she became unhappy. Shiwang, did you bring Jiang Ning to Han Group to work? Mother, Han Shiwang said confidently. What's wrong with Jiang Ning? We watch her grow up, so we all know her. Her family background is the most suitable for us. So what's wrong with getting married to her? Tian Chihua snorted with a fake smile. Jiang Ning is so good. Why didn't you leave it for your son? Why are you forcing this onto my son? Han Sihue, who was playing games at the side, looked up from his phone and said depressingly, If you're going to talk about third brother, then just talk about him. Why do you involve me? That Jiang Ning, although she was about the same age as him, she had a temper. Han Sihue wouldn't be able to stand her, let alone Han Yuanjun. Every man in this family was not interested in her, other than his father. Han Shiwang was so angry that his face turned green. Second sister, what do you mean? June doesn't have a girlfriend, so I help out nicely. Don't bite the dog's hand and try to get away with it. If you don't know what's good for you, you can do it for me. I thank you. Tian Chihua didn't give him a face. She just said, So what if June doesn't have a girlfriend? As his mother, I'm not in a hurry and pressuring him. Why are you in such a hurry to become an uncle? You really like Jiang Ning, but even your son doesn't want her. If you are so obsessed with her, why don't you marry her? Fortunately, Han Shuang's wife was not there, otherwise she would have slapped him. Tian Qihua had always been straightforward. If she didn't like someone, then she didn't like that person and wouldn't give him a face. Old Madame Han was very fond of Tian Qihua's character and usually pampered her. Therefore, even though Tian Qihua had said such outrageous words, Han Shuang did not dare to protest out loud. However, his face contorted in anger, and after holding his anger for a while, he said, "June, since you don't like Jiang Ning, I want to see what kind of trash you can bring back." Old Madame Han immediately glared at Han Shuang. "Don't you have something good to say? If you don't know what's good for you, then shut up." Han Shuang. Tian Chihua's words were much more unpleasant to hear than his, but old Madame Han didn't say anything. The moment he said it, old Madame Han would go against him. Was he old Madame Han's biological son or not? Han Shuang was on the verge of tears. Looking at Tian Chihua's proud expression, he was extremely irritated in his heart. He turned around and saw his son playing a game with his phone. He was so angry that he slapped Han Sihui's phone. "You just know playing game all day. Don't you have anything better to do?" Han Sihui picked up his phone in a panic. As he looked around, he saw his father blowing his head off. He put the phone back in his pocket gloomily. He glanced at Han Shuang with dissatisfaction and said in a low voice, "I'm not the one who provokes you. If you want to vent your anger, go find them. Why did you take it out on me?" Old Madame Han turned to look at Han Yuan Jun and asked kindly, "Jun, what is your girlfriend doing? What does she do at home? Since you didn't bring her here, could it be that you planned to give an explanation first before bringing her here?" Old Madame Han understood Han Yuan Jun the most. Han Yuan Jun rubbed his hand and glanced at Tian Qihua first before looking at old Madame Han. He acted very obediently and called to her so softly that it made the old woman's heart soften. She looked at him and kept smiling. "Grandmother, my girlfriend comes from a normal family, and she lived with her grandmother at home. She works at Han Group now and is a songwriter for the music department." "Oh, that's right. She's in charge of Qin Yu's album too." Even Zhu Sheng praised her, saying that she has a very high talent and is a talent that is hard to come by in 50 years. "Oh, is that so?" Old Madame Han laughed until her eyes curved. "Zhu Sheng is praising her?" This Zhu Sheng has always been stingy with his words. He looks down on many people. "Exactly." Tian Qihua nodded in agreement. "Zhu Sheng is the most arrogant person I've ever met. When he talks, he is even worse than me. But to be able to get his compliment, I'm guessing that your girlfriend must be incredibly good. That's a must." Han Yuan Jun raised his head and stuck out his chest with a face full of pride. "How can a person whom I like be weak?" Han Shuang did not like Han Yuanjuan's arrogant appearance. Sneering coldly, he attacked him. "If what you say is true, then why don't you bring her back today? I'm afraid that she's just a woman with a very bad background." "You talk too much," Tian Qihua replied viciously. "If you don't speak, everyone will treat you as a mute." When old Madame Han looked at Han Shuang, her face turned ugly again. "Shut up." Han Shuang rolled his eyes and closed his mouth, but his expression clearly said, "I don't like women other than Jiang Ning." Honestly, Han Shuang's jinx hit the mark. This was also why Han Yuan Jun hesitated. After a moment of silence, Han Yuan Jun said carefully, "Her mother passed away a long time ago. There was an elder brother in the army. Father married little San, and little San had a daughter, so she was particularly unpopular at home. A while ago, when her father and sister wanted to harm her, I happened to meet them. She moved out of her house and now lives with her grandmother." Hiss! Old Madame Han covered her cheeks as if she had a toothache. What she was most afraid of was hearing about this family background matter. Since her family background was so bad, if Han Yuan Jun really married her, who knows if Han family would be a mess in the future. Tian Qihua, remained silent with a grave expression on her face. Han Yuanjuan's heart skipped a beat. He knew that this was a huge blow to their family. However, he had no choice but to say these things. Even if he did not say it now, his family would know sooner or later. Rather than thinking that Liang Zishuan was lying to them in the future, it would be better to tell them now and give them some preventive measures. When they meet and come into contact with her, they would have a whole new level of respect for her. Han Yuanjun said, "Grandmother, Mom, a person's birth is the only thing they can't change. Who doesn't want to be born into a good family? I like her and even date her with the goal of getting married. Even if you guys have opinions about her background, shouldn't you guys first see how she does?" Old Madame Han pursed her lips and narrowed her eyes, as though she was thinking. Tian Chihua's expression was also unfathomable. It was unknown what she was thinking. On the other hand, Han Shuang laughed mockingly. "I thought you found some beautiful girl, and it turns out to be this kind of thing. Who said that a person's birth wasn't important anymore? Like the girl you're talking about. How do you know that she didn't get close to you in order to get close to our family?" Han Yuanjun rolled his eyes and was too lazy to explain to him. He just remained silent with a sullen face. Even if Tian Chihua had some disagreements with Liang Zishuan's background, she couldn't allow her son to be said in such a manner. She sneered. "Do you think my son is stupid? Whether she is sincere or just faking it, my son can't tell. Stop acting like you're the smartest person in the world. What's wrong with her background? Jiangning was born into a good family, so why don't you marry her to your son? It's a perfect match." Han Sihui's face was so sunken that it looked as if someone owed him a few $100 million. He pouted, feeling wronged. "Aunt, can you not use me in your argument? Who is Jiangning? I don't even like her, so don't drag me in." Tian Chihua looked at Han Shiwang mockingly. "Even your son doesn't like her. Why should my son like her?" "Han Shiwang, let me tell you, I am in charge of my son's affairs, so don't keep pushing other women to him. If you like her, you can hand her to your son or just marry her to you. Be your second wife." Han Shiwang was half dead with anger. Just as he was about to lose his temper, old Madame Han shouted, "Enough!" Old Madame Han shot a glare at Han Shiwang and expressed her opinion. "Shiwang, you don't have to care about Jiangning anymore. Don't bring her here anymore and bother me at home." "June, I think you're right. No matter what the girl's background is, we still care about her character. When the time comes, you have to take her home." Han Yuanjun was 30 years old, and he wasn't some child. His judgment of people had always been very accurate. Otherwise, Han Group Media would not have been handled so well by him. Seeing Han Yunjuan's serious look and how he returned home to give them a preventive measure, old Madame Han knew how much he cared about that girl. As an elder, she couldn't just ignore and reject him. The Han family had always been a democratic family, and it was a good thing. No matter how much others forced other women on him, it was useless. Han Yuanjun happily agreed. "Okay, after she finishes with Qin Yu's album, I'll take her home." Tian Chihua frowned. "How much longer?" Han Yuanjun estimated the time and said, "About 3 months." "What?" Old Madame Han jumped up from her chair. 3 months? No, bring her back tomorrow. Returning to Lu Reve, Han Yuanjun knocked on Liang Zishuan's door without going to his house. When Liang Zishuan saw him, she was instantly stunned. "It's too late. Why don't you stay over there?" His big family couldn't wait for him to bring Liang Zishuan home. Under the pressure of old Madame Han, Han Yuanjun felt uncomfortable. "I missed you, so I came back." He smiled gently and walked inside. Luo Yinyan had already gone to sleep early. By now, she had already returned to her room. Only Han Yuanjun and Liang Zishuan were left in the living room. Han Yuanjun sat on the sofa and pulled Liang Zishuan into his embrace. He stared at his phone screen and hesitated to speak. Liang Zishuan raised her head and looked at him with a faint smile. "If there's something you want to say, just say it. Don't hold back." Han Yuanjun coughed. "Grandmother wants to see you." Liang Zishuan blinked her big eyes, feeling that her heart had been severely injured. Although she had never met Han Yuanjuan's grandmother, the old woman was very famous. During the crisis that year, the business of the Han family had fallen into a trough, with all the shareholders going against them. Old Madame Han held onto her cane and walked towards the conference room with full force. Her sharp eyes swept across all the people present, and the cane in her hand heavily smashed onto the marble floor. "What are you panicking for? What is there to panic about? Han Group has experienced a lot of trouble, but with just one crisis, you guys ended up in such a state." Her few words caused all the shareholders present to be rendered speechless. In the end, she came forward and helped Han Yuanjun become the current president from the general manager. Then he had his current Han Group, who was the president who had been kicked out of office by the old woman in the past. Han Shuang. At that time, Han Yuanjuan's father took care of business outside the Han family and handed the Han Group over to Han Shuang. Unexpectedly, Han Shuang was incompetent and caused the Han Group to become even worse. Liang Zishuan was a little afraid of such an old woman. "We've only known each other for a few days, and yet you already want me to see your family? Isn't that a bit inappropriate?" Han Yuanjun knew that Liang Zishuan would be terrified. He pinched her jaw and said with a smile, "Are you scared?" Liang Zishuan hissed from the pain. "I'm not scared. I think it's too fast. While I really want to see your parents, I have to wait until I'm done with my job and get some outstanding results. Would a wealthy family like the Han family take a fancy to an ordinary girl like her?" Liang Zishuan knew this very well. Han Yuanjun laughed lightly. His chin was pressed to her smooth forehead as he stared at the protrusion on her chest where the blue gemstone necklace was hidden. He suddenly asked, "Baby, is this blue gemstone necklace left by your mother?" Liang Zishuan took out the necklace and played with it in her hand. "Yes, that's the only relic my mother left for me. Jiang Huifeng tried to snatch it from me that year, but if my brother hadn't threatened her with a knife, she would have snatched it." Her eyes flashed with hatred when she thought of Jiang Huifeng. Her expression immediately darkened. "Jiang Huifeng took all the gold and silver jewelry that my mother had, but she didn't like it. She would rather sell it than leave it for me." Han Yuanjuan's face also turned serious, thinking that luckily Liang Zishuan managed to keep this blue gemstone necklace. This item was more valuable than gold or silver jewelry. "Then do you know where this necklace came from?" "This?" Liang Zishuan raised her eyes and looked at Han Yuanjun. "Looks like you've been attracted to this necklace since the first time we met. Do you like collecting gemstones?" And Han Yuanjun did like it. After all, who wouldn't like such a beautiful gem? However, there was something else that he liked. "Baby, do you know its value?" Liang Zishuan looked down at the blue gemstone necklace in her hand and hesitantly replied, "Must be expensive enough. Several 100,000. Han Yuanjun chuckled and tapped Liang Zishuan's nose with his index finger. "A few years ago, I auctioned a smaller piece of starlight blue gemstone in the United States for 8 million. It isn't as great as this one, and the blue gemstone is also not bright." Liang Zishuan was shocked. Her eyes widened as she stared at the necklace in her hand in disbelief. 8 million? Oh my God, you're not lying to me, right? She felt as if she had suddenly been hit by a pie. Her heart thumped unceasingly. The gemstone was so hot in her hand that she could barely hold it. "I'm not lying to you." Han Yuanjun raised his eyebrow. "When the first time I saw you, judging from your clothes, you didn't look like someone who could afford this gem." Liang Zishuan was stunned by Han Yuanjuan's words. Wouldn't it be dangerous if she wore it on her body every day? She was so scared that she immediately took off the necklace. Han Yuanjun took the necklace from her hand. Liang Zishuan saw him carefully sizing up the gem. "I only know that this gemstone belongs to my mother. It seems to be a dowry, but I don't know if it was given to my mother by my grandmother or my grandfather." Han Yuanjun looked at her. "Is your grandfather's family very rich?" Liang Zishuan immediately shook her head. "No, my grandfather was just a farmer, but I heard that my grandmother was once the daughter of a rich family. She was saved by my grandfather during the war, so she married my grandfather." Han Yuanjun narrowed his eyes. It really did have something to do with Luo Yinyan. Han Yuanjun pulled Liang Zishuan closer to him and asked, "Baby, can I borrow this necklace? Seeing Liang Zishuan frown, he explained, I'm just going to take a photo and ask someone to rate its value. If it's really very valuable, then treat it as a family heirloom and don't wear it on your body anymore. It would be dangerous if someone saw it. Liang Zishuan felt that Han Yuanjuan's words made sense, so she nodded and said, please help me evaluate that. If it's not worth it, I'll wear it. If it's really worth as you say, then I won't wear it. If she were kidnapped or robbed, she would have ended up dead. Han Yuanjun couldn't help but laugh when he saw Liang Zishuan's frightened expression. When this little girl was facing others, she was extremely good. When she faced him, she was like a simple little white rabbit. How could she be so easily tricked? This thing was definitely worth a lot of money. Han Yuanjun didn't even need someone to appraise it. He had seen so many gemstones that he was almost an expert in this aspect. How could he not know the value of this one? Han Yuanjun immediately went home and looked at the clock on the wall. Right now, it is daytime in the United States. He switched on the computer and opened the video app. After waiting for a while, an old man with gray hair and sports clothes appeared in front of him. Despite his old age, he remained enthusiastic. With a towel wrapped around his neck, he wiped his sweat and sat down. June, you haven't had a video call with me in a long time. Han Yuanjun looked at his sweaty head and laughed. Grandpa Xiao, did you finish running just now? This person was none other than the international famous piano grandmaster, Xiao Hongya. Xiao Hongya laughed heartily. Yeah, I'm getting old. If I don't exercise now, you might come to attend my memorial service in a few years. He was always like this, always joking about his age. Han Yuanjun was used to it, but he still looked at Xiao Hongya with a sad expression. Grandpa Xiao, you can't bear to die without finding her. Sigh. Xiao Hongya let out a long sigh. Of course I don't want to die, so I've persisted in my training. I want to let myself live a few more years, and it's best if I can survive until I find her. Han Yuanjun immediately changed the topic. Grandpa Xiao, I found another blue gemstone. This one is the same size you described to me before, but the owner of the gemstone is a 20-years-old woman. She knows very little about its origin. It's been 10 years since Han Yuanjun helped Xiao Hongya find the owner of the blue gemstone necklace. So far, Han Yuanjun had found a lot of it, but none of them were the ones Xiao Hongya was looking for. After being disappointed many times, Xiao Hongya calmed down and lost his impulsiveness. It's all right. This sort of thing still depends on luck. Yes. Han Yuanjun took Liang Zishuan's necklace and showed it to the camera. Grandpa Xiao, look, is it this one? Xiao Hongya only took a glance and shouted loudly. Jun, wait a moment. Han Yuanjuan's face lit up. It's it. Xiao Hongya immediately stood up and ran before returning. He slowly put on his reading glasses and said, No, I can't see clearly. Han Yuanjun, causing him to get excited for nothing. Xiao Hongya held up his reading glass and slowly looked at the blue gemstone necklace on the screen. Due to lighting problems, he did not see it clearly. After looking at it for a moment, he shook his head. Things like this need to be held in your hands for you to see. Looking at it through video call, it doesn't seem to be the one. Han Yuanjun put the necklace down. I can't send it to you. If you have time, you should go back to your country. Xiao Hongya turned around and looked at the door and hesitated for a moment. Can we talk about it another time? Little Jing hasn't been doing well lately. I can't get away. Han Yuanjun watched as Xiao Jingjing came over and hurriedly said, Okay, no problem. We can do another time. Grandpa Xiao, it's late over here. so I'm going to sleep first. Brother Jun. Han Yuan-jun acted like he was hiding from a ghost. With a pa sound, he ended the video call and shut off his computer. Jiang Ning led her 4 assistants out of a luxurious business car and swaggered towards the Girl of the Rose production crew. As soon as she appeared, all eyes fell on her, frightened by her temperament and the grandeur behind her. Jiang Ning pursed her lips in satisfaction and took off her sunglasses. When she saw Qin Yu and Liang Zixuan, she walked over with a smile. Qin Yu, long time no see. Qin Yu already knew about Jiang Ning from Han Yuanjun. She had an awkward expression on her face. Hello, Miss Jiang. What Miss Jiang, you call me Ning? Ignoring Qin Yu's attitude, she held her arm and hugged her affectionately. It was as if they were close friends who had been friends for years. Liang Zixuan looked at Qin Yu calmly with a meaningful smile on her face. She wasn't stupid. She knew Jiang Ning's purpose in coming here. She chose to come at the right time. Jiang Ning acted as if she didn't see Liang Zixuan at all. She completely ignored her and said to Qin Yu, I heard you're going to sing a song for this movie too? Coincidentally, I just graduated from Curtis Music Academy in the United States, and I even helped produce the soundtrack for some movies in Hollywood. Because of the relationship between your uncle and me, I helped you make the album, as well as make the soundtrack for your movie. Jiang Ning deliberately said that she had a good relationship with Han Yuan-jun in front of Liang Zixuan to make her misunderstand. Unexpectedly, not only did Liang Zixuan not misunderstand, she even gave Jiang Ning a mocking look. Just because you were a student from Curtis's Music Academy, you thought yourself so outstanding? And what did you mean by having a good relationship with Han Yuanjun? He didn't even spare you a glance. Not to mention Liang Zixuan. Even Qin Yu felt Jiang Ning was too ridiculous. Even Su Zhengxiang, who was standing beside her, had a dark expression, as if his movie was some kind of lousy movie. Oh, Hollywood's movies were good, but our domestic movies were trash? Qin Yu calmly pushed Jiang Ning's hand away, trying her best to control the emotion in her heart. She said calmly, Miss Jiang, Liang Zixuan has finished making my album. My uncle set this up. I also really like the songs that she wrote for me, so I won't be needing your help. Su Jingxiang also coldly snorted. My investment in movies is small, and it can't compare to the production of Hollywood. I can't afford a goddess like you. Jiang Ning used to be arrogant and proud. Normally, someone else would ask for her help, but once she offered to help, she was actually turned down. How could she swallow this down? Qin Yu, what good song can someone like Liang Zixuan write? Don't let her ruin your future. I had never been to university before, nor had I studied at the famous Academy of Music. But, Jiang Ning, even if the hard work of an untalented person has a certain result, no matter how hard you try, you will only fail. Your parents spent so much money for you to go to a famous music academy, but they only just put a layer of gold on you on the outside. Whereas inside, Liang Zixuan laughed mockingly. Jiang Ning was so angry that her chest hurt. Liang Zixuan was actually scolding her for not having talent. A country bumpkin who hadn't even gone to university or gone overseas to study looked down on her. All right, Jiang Ning said angrily. Liang Zixuan, I want to see what kind of confidence you have to dare to talk so shamelessly. Yesterday, a movie director invited me to become their music director. I'll contact him in a while. Liang Zixuan, we'll meet at the Venice Film Festival. Jiang Ning looked at Su Zhengxiang and smiled mockingly. If you guys can't get a nomination for this movie, then you're just slapping your own face. Su Zhengxiang's face turned red. He was so angry that he couldn't say a word. It wasn't that Su Zhengxiang didn't have a temper. It was just that there wasn't a market for young adult movies in the country, and he didn't have the confidence to stand out in more than 100 movies, both at home and abroad. Liang Zixuan frowned. She couldn't bear to see Jiang Ning's arrogant attitude. She scoffed, "Well, let's meet at the Venice Film Festival. Jiang Ning, since you are so proud of yourself, do you dare make a bet with me?" Jiang Ning frowned and looked at her in surprise. "You want to bet?" Liang Zixuan smiled. "That's right. We'll bet whoever loses will leave the music industry forever. Do you dare?" When Qinyu heard this, her back turned cold. She hurriedly tugged at the corner of Liang Zixuan's clothes. "Zixuan, this isn't a good bet." Su Jingxiang also advised on the side. "This bet is too big. Let's change it." Liang Zixuan smiled at them, telling them not to worry. She turned to look at Jiang Ning and asked coldly, "Jiang Ning, you don't dare?" Jiang Ning was really shocked. Liang Zixuan was undoubtedly betting on their future. If she lost and left the music industry, then she would leave Han Group and would never have anything to do with Han Yuanjun. Initially, she disobeyed her parents and wanted to go abroad to study music. Wasn't it because she wanted to come to the Han Group to be with Han Yuanjun after graduation? But Liang Zixuan had actually used this as a wager. Jiang Ning cursed in her heart before looking at Liang Zixuan arrogantly. "Why don't I dare do that? I'm a graduate of Curtis Music Academy. When you lose, don't blame me and say that I'm bullying you." In her heart, Liang Zixuan wouldn't be able to defeat her. How could she possibly win against her? Was this a joke? Liang Zixuan nodded her head, glanced at the people present, and continued, "Everyone, please be our witness. At the Venice Music Festival, whoever loses will leave the music industry forever. If both win at the same time, then we'll see who gets the most votes from the judges." Qinyu and Su Zhengxiang looked at each other. It's hard to describe the complicated feelings in their hearts. However, Liang Zixuan had already said it. No matter what, they should support her unconditionally. "All right," Qinyu nodded. "I'll testify for the two of you." Jiang Ning glanced at Liang Zixuan complacently, and her eyes seemed to say, "Just you wait to get your most humiliating moment and quit the music industry forever." Then she took out her sunglasses and put them on her face. She then left the place gracefully and arrogantly. Su Jingxiang wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. "Zixuan, you really dare to bet. You actually dare to bet my movie with a first-class director. Aren't you afraid of losing?" Qinyu also looked worriedly at her. Liang Zixuan glanced at them and saw that they were really scared. Su Jingxiang was sweating, and Qinyu's lips were white from biting. She patted Su Zhengxiang on the shoulder. "Director Su, believe me, this movie will definitely make you a first-class director. You are no worse than anyone else. You must be confident in yourself." Su Jingxiang actually didn't know where Liang Zixuan's confidence came from. He didn't even have one himself. "Good. For your future, I will give it my all." Qinyu immediately stretched out her palm. "Come on, let's fight it out." Liang Zixuan couldn't help but laugh when she saw her childish behavior. She then put her hand on the back of her hand. Su Jingxiang also came over. 3 hands held each other as they shook up and down. "Let's go all together." In order to make the movie better, Liang Zixuan stopped going to the company during the day and came to the crew every day to communicate with Su Zhengxiang and Qinyu. She also took a look at the filming process to better integrate herself into the plot of the movie. Su Jingxiang had also become very harsh on the actors' acting skills. The scenes that were easy to get through before would now need to be res hot a few times. That day, 2 uninvited guests came to the crew. One was well-dressed. The other had gray hair and a cane. The 2 of them were in high spirits and wore large sunglasses. They stood far from them and watched the scene with full vigor. No one actually knew how they came in. Qinyu happened to be filming a scene when she caught a glimpse of these 2 people by accident. She was shocked inside, and her expression instantly went out of control. "Cut! Qinyu, did you see a ghost? Why is there such an expression on your face?" Su Zhengxiang immediately shouted towards Qinyu with his megaphone. Qinyu stuck out her tongue and made an apologetic gesture. "Director Su, I'm sorry. Let's do it again." Old Madame Han heard Su Zhengxiang's cackling voice from the megaphone. She knocked the cane in her hand angrily on the ground. He's the ghost. His whole family is ghosts. Tian Chihua pushed her sunglasses to her nose while saying helplessly, Qin Yu immediately recognized you. Mom, your ways won't work. Who said that? Old Madam Han said righteously. I saw this in every movie, and it worked. Tian Chihua. In the movie, people dress up to a level where no one would recognize them at first glance. That's why it works. Old Madam Han stretched her neck and finally found Liang Zishuan sitting in the lounge. She pulled Tian Chihuahua's hand excitedly. Daughter-in-law, look at that girl, isn't that her? Tian Chihua took out her cell phone and compared it to the woman in the lounge and Liang Zishuan's photo she stole from Han Yuanjuan's phone. She then said with certainty, It's her. Aya. Old Madam Han stared at Liang Zishuan. Is this little girl mature yet? Why is she so young? Tian Chihua was about to say something, but Old Madam Han giggled again. June is eating young grass. How shameless. Tian Chihua. Was there anyone who would say that to their own biological grandson? However, when Tian Chihua looked at Liang Zishuan, she also felt that Liang Zishuan seemed too young. She wasn't very satisfied with Liang Zishuan in her heart. Old Madam Han coldly snorted. Come, let's go meet her. Tian Chihua pulled at the old woman unhappily. Mom, didn't you say that you would only take a look? Why do you still want to go meet her? Old Madam Han pushed her away with her cane as she shook her head. My grandson likes her, so I'll check it for him. Neither the fox spirit nor the white bone spirit can escape from my fiery eyes. Tian Chihua heaved a long sigh and forced herself to follow Old Madam Han. Old Madam Han stood in front of Liang Zishuan. When she saw Liang Zishuan staring at her phone with such concentration that she didn't even notice them coming over, Old Madam Han snorted. Little girl, are you playing games? Kids of this age love to play games. Han Sihui played games with his phone all day. Old Madam Han found it extremely unpleasant to look at. She really wanted to kick him, crippling him. Han Sihui even lied to them, saying that he was busy, so he didn't have time to go back to the old mansion to see them. Busy with what? Playing games? Now, seeing Liang Zishuan playing with her phone, old Madam Han was even more dissatisfied. Liang Zishuan lifted her face from her phone and looked at the old woman in front of her. If it weren't for her slightly hunched back, she really would have thought that the old woman was only in her 50s. Although she wore black sunglasses, Liang Zishuan could still feel the sharp look in her eyes under the sunglasses. Lowering her head, she saw the delicate cane in the old woman's hand. With a single glance, she could tell that the old woman in front of her wasn't an ordinary person. Liang Zishuan suddenly thought of the legend she had heard. The old woman in the story had an expression similar to the old woman in front of her. Whether she was angry or not, no one could see her thoughts. Tian Chihua immediately walked towards them, and Liang Zishuan took turns to size her up. From her elegant appearance and her movement, Liang Zishuan was even more certain of her thoughts. She smiled at the old woman and Tian Chihua. I'm not playing a game. Old Madam Han frowned. She wanted to look down at Liang Zishuan's phone to see if she was lying. However, she could not see it clearly because her sight was blurry. Old Madam Han took off her sunglasses, as her eyes were almost glued to the screen of Liang Zishuan's cell phone. Grandmother. Liang Zishuan smiled as she stood up and helped the old woman sit in the chair. Then she went to the side and brought a chair for Tian Chihua to sit on. She squatted at the old woman's feet and held up her cell phone. I'm writing words on my phone. Writing poetry. Old Madam Han narrowed her eyes and looked up. The words written on it were too small. Her eyes hurt just by looking at it. What did it say? What was written was a secret. How could Liang Zixuan show it to anyone before Qin Yu's album was released? Before the movie was done? She hesitated for a moment before she turned on the audio. I'll play the music for you. Before old Madame Han could agree, Liang Zixuan had already played the music. Old Madame Han immediately fell in love as soon as she heard that and revealed a pleasantly surprised smile. Cough, cough. Tian Chihua coughed lightly at the side. Old Madame Han immediately straightened her back and snorted contemptuously. It's okay. This standard is not on par with my daughter-in-law. Tian Chihua. How could she write songs? Tian Chihua glanced at the old woman gloomily. Mom, let's rest here for a while before leaving. Don't disturb her work. Old Madame Han anxiously bit her lip as if she were suddenly thinking of something and began to sob in complaint. Do you think I want to go out and wander around? Isn't that the same as staying at home? You gave birth to 3 sons, and 2 of your sons couldn't live up to my expectations. I'm so old already, and he still hasn't found a wife yet. I'm so worried that my intestines are tied up. As old Madame Han cried, she opened the bag she carried with her and touched something inside. As if she hadn't touched anything, she raised her head and said to Liang Zixuan, "Little girl, help me find a tissue." Liang Zixuan nodded and went to find the tissue in old Madame Han's bag. Inside the bag, there was something cold and a bit hard. She was stunned for a moment before she looked inside the bag. Suddenly, a golden light shone in front of her eyes, blinding her. It was not easy for her eyes to see what was inside, but she was stunned by what was inside. The long golden stripes with gold letters were very eye-catching. Liang Zixuan gave a cursory glance and saw that there were about 20 of them. She immediately retracted her hand and zipped the old woman's bag. "Grandmother, what are you doing by bringing this stuff out the door? How dangerous can it be if someone found it? Hurry up and put it away. Don't ever open this bag again." The old woman was actually carrying dozens of gold bars into the street when she had nothing to do. What kind of behavior was this? Deliberately provoking someone to commit a crime? Tian Chihua speechlessly lifted her hand to support her forehead. When they left the house, she had advised the old woman not to bring this thing with her, but old Madame Han refused to listen. If it weren't for the fact that her bag was only this big and she could only lift it this much, she would have taken out all the gold bars in the safe. Weren't they just testing Liang Zixuan? Did old Madame Han really have to tire herself to such an extent? Liang Zixuan took the tissue from her bag and handed it to old Madame Han. Old Madame Han saw that Liang Zixuan actually didn't care about the gold bars at all. Other than when she was looking for tissues, she didn't even glance at the bag. Old Madame Han suspected that Liang Zixuan did not care about the money, and she was immediately very satisfied. Then she continued to cry. "My grandson is actually pretty handsome. He's a good person, and he's also able to do the job very well. It's just that he can't find a girlfriend." Liang Zixuan had to struggle to hold back her laughter. She acted as if she knew nothing and nodded at what the old woman had said. Old Madame Han glared at her. "Why are you nodding?" Liang Zixuan laughed. "I think what grandmother said makes a lot of sense." Old Madame Han frowned gloomily. "What makes sense?" Liang Zixuan thought to herself. Han Yuanjun was a handsome person with a good character, so why can't he find a girlfriend? She said with a sincere face. "From the way grandmother talk, I know grandmother's grandson is not bad at all. The matter of finding a girlfriend depends on fate. Once fate has arrived, there will be." "Is that so?" Old Madame Han nodded in agreement, patting Tian Chihua's leg. "Quick, take out the photo of your son for her to see." Liang Zixuan was stunned for a moment, unable to respond. What was the old woman trying to do? When Han Yuanjuan's photo appeared before her eyes, what would she say? That this was her boyfriend? Not good. Just when Liang Zixuan was hesitant and worried, old man Han pointed to the photo. "Even though this is the first time we've met, I think you're very close to me. Maybe this is what you call destiny. Look at my grandson's picture. If you're happy with him, come home with me tonight." Liang Zixuan. What was this old woman playing at? Tian Chihua held the phone in front of Liang Zixuan's eyes. She looked at it closely and thought, who was this? Wasn't it supposed to be Han Yuanjun? When old Madame Han saw that Liang Zixuan had frozen, her face immediately drooped, and she coldly snorted in her heart. Indeed, young girls love fresh meat. Once you see a handsome man, you can't close your eyes. Liang Zixuan stared at the photo on her phone and smiled awkwardly. Grandmother, your grandson is quite handsome. She quietly pushed the phone away from her eyes. But I already have a boyfriend. No matter how handsome your grandson is, in my eyes, he's not as handsome as my boyfriend. If you really want a girlfriend for your grandson, I can introduce someone to you. Old Madame Han was stunned. You're going to introduce someone to me? Liang Zixuan nodded and pointed towards the set. Qinyu and I are pretty good friends. She has good character and doesn't have the slightest bit of princess temperament. She's very beautiful. Let me introduce her to you later. Old Madame Han and Tian Chihua raised their hands to support their foreheads, both feeling pain in their faces. Tian Chihua's expression seemed to say, Mom, look at what you have done. It's too embarrassing. Old Madame Han's expression said, How would I know? This little girl is so smart. I feel very helpless now. Coincidentally, the filming finished, and it was time for a break. Qinyu rushed over in a hurry. Old Madame Han gave her a wink when she saw her. Qinyu was stunned for a moment. She didn't quite understand what the old woman meant. Gra? Aya, who is this little girl? She's so beautiful and cute. Old Madame Han interrupted Qinyu and winked at her again. Qinyu finally understood the situation and smiled awkwardly. Liang Zixuan pulled Qinyu towards her and introduced her, Qinyu, to old Madame Han. This is Qinyu, a girl that I mentioned earlier. Liang Zixuan tilted her head and whispered into Qinyu's ear, This old woman wants to find a girlfriend for her grandson. I'm going to introduce you to her. Qinyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she looked at old Madame Han. Old Madame Han pretentiously asked Tian Chihua to show Qinyu the photo of her grandson. Qinyu almost burst out laughing when she saw this. Wasn't this Han Sihui? No wonder Liang Zixuan didn't recognize him. You don't need to. I'm still young and just 20 years old. I'll think about it after I graduate from university. Old Madame Han was delighted. She stood up and pulled Tian Chihua along with her, intending to leave. All right, we've had enough rest. Chihua, let's go shopping and not disturb their work anymore. Old Madame Han picked up her bag with her other hand and almost dropped it. Liang Zixuan. That thing must be quite heavy. One gold bar was 1,000 grams, and it's over 20 pieces, and it can weigh at least 40 kilograms. Seeing the old woman and Tian Chihua walking further and further away, Qinyu immediately asked, Zixuan, what did the two of them talk to you about? Liang Zixuan smirked. Just telling me that her grandson is very nice, handsome, and has a strong working ability, but he doesn't have a girlfriend. While talking to me, she would wipe her tears and ask me to find a tissue in her bag. The result was that there were 20 gold bars inside, which frightened me. Qinyu almost burst into laughter when she heard this. She finally understood what old Madame Han was trying so hard to do. This was clearly a test for Liang Zixuan. Qinyu knew this in her heart, but she wouldn't say it out aloud. She just wanted to see what tricks the old woman would play in the future. After getting in the car, old Madame Han threw the bag to the side. She was so tired that her arm was almost broken. What do you think of Liang Zixuan? Tian Chihua leaned on the back seat and let out a long sigh. Even now, she still felt that coming here with the old woman was a mistake. It's hard to say, but I don't know if that girl recognized us or not. How is this possible? Old Madame Han lifted her chin confidently. How can she see through my disguise? Plus, that girl has never seen us before. So how would she know who we are? What old Madame Han said made a lot of sense. But why did Tian Chihua feel that Liang Zixuan seemed to have recognized them? Seeing how smoothly she called them grandmother and Annie, Tian Chihua snorted with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Mom, don't bring the gold bars out next time. It will embarrass us to death. Old Madame Han shrunk back against the seat, feeling like she was a tycoon today. A month later, the movie shooting was over and the actors finished their work. All that was left were the director's cut, the soundtrack, and so on. Taking advantage of this time, Qin Yu recorded an album in Han Group. Han Yuanjun even opened the back door for Su Zhengxiang, asking him to start the post-production process in Han Group Media directly. In order to achieve a better effect, while waiting for Qin Yu to finish recording the songs, Liang Zixuan lent her help in editing the movie. While Liang Zixuan and Zheng Zhilan were busy with Su Zhengxiang, Sun Jia sneaked into Liang Zixuan's studio. When she saw that the computer used by Liang Zixuan was not turned off, she was immediately overjoyed. She quickly took out a USB and plugged it into the computer. Sun Jia immediately found the folder where Liang Zixuan kept Qin Yu's songs. She secretly copied the main song on her USB drive. Seeing that she had succeeded, she was so happy that she almost went crazy. Just as she pulled out the USB drive, she heard a sharp voice from behind her. "What are you doing?" Sun Jia's heart was beating fast. She grabbed the USB in her hand and turned around, smiling at Zheng Zhilan. "I came looking for you. I saw you weren't here, so I'm waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" Zheng Zhilan narrowed her eyes and sized up Sun Jia, feeling that something was off. "Why are you looking for me?" Sun Jia smiled as she quietly reached into her pocket. Manager Xiang said he would treat everyone to coffee this afternoon. "What kind of coffee do you and Liang Zixuan want?" "I'll buy it." Xiang Zedong was so stingy and looked down on others, but here Sun Jia was saying that he's going to treat everyone to a cup of coffee? What kind of joke was this? Even if the sun rose to the west today, Zheng Zhilan still wouldn't believe it. When she saw Sun Jia's hand hidden in her pants pocket, her face suddenly turned cold. "What are you holding in your hand?" Sun Jia smiled pretentiously. "It's nothing." With that, she even stretched out her hand for Zheng Zhilan to see. "It's really nothing." Afraid that Zheng Zhilan would argue with her, Sun Jia quickly dashed to the door. "I'm going to buy coffee. I'll buy you caramel macchiato." The more Zheng Zhilan thought about it, the more she felt that something was amiss. She checked the studio once and found nothing amiss. She immediately went to find Liang Zixuan and told her about this. Ling Zixuan was silent for a moment before she suddenly asked, "Did we lose something?" Zheng Zhilan shook her head. "No, I've checked, and we haven't lost anything. Even a music book I left on the table doesn't seem to be in a passive state." Liang Zixuan thought about it seriously, but she still couldn't figure out what Sun Jia wanted to do in her studio. Since she couldn't figure it out, she said, "It's okay. Maybe she actually came to ask us what kind of coffee we wanted." Zheng Zhilan patted her chest. "But I still feel uneasy." 2 days later, not long after Liang Zixuan arrived at the company, she was called by Zhu Sheng. From his extremely cold voice, Liang Zixuan knew that something had happened. She walked into Zhu Sheng's office. Seeing that Xiang Zedong was also there, she slightly pinched her palm and asked, "What happened? What's happened?" Before Zhu Sheng could say anything, Xiang Zedong slapped the table hard. "You still have the nerve to ask us what happened?" Liang Zixuan looked over. "If you don't say it, how would I know?" Just as Xiang Zedong was about to open his mouth, Zhu Sheng glanced at him and took the lead. "Today, someone posted an audio on Weibo. I heard it's Qin Yu's album's main song and the theme song for Girl the Rose. And this person indicated that you are copying Wei Xiaoqing's song." Liang Zixuan was stunned. Did someone sneak away the materials? She copied Wei Xiaoqing, who was so shameless as to actually say such hilarious words. And that's not the worst of it. Zhu Sheng let out a long sigh. It was sent by an account with tens of millions of fans. Let's not talk about copying Wei Xiaoqing. This post has already been forwarded and the songs have already been downloaded millions of times. The most serious thing is, even if Qin Yu's album were released, Not many people would be willing to spend money to buy and download it. Liang Zixuan's heart skipped a beat. How could she not know how much damage it had caused to the company? It could be said that if this happened, Qin Yu's album would have been made for nothing, and her hard work these few months would have been in vain. If it was just Qin Yu's loss alone, then it was not a big deal. In fact, this will cause a huge loss for the movie that hadn't yet been marketed and also to the company. Liang Zixuan's palms started to sweat, and her heart began to tremble. Seeing Liang Zixuan remain silent, Xiang Zedong laughed mockingly. Liang Zixuan, see how calm you are? You must be the person behind this, right? Are you Asterisk Kingdom? Liang Zixuan's sharp gaze swept over him. Just because you are dumb, don't think that everyone is dumb like you. What good would it do me? Besides, I copied Wei Shaoqing. No one with a brain would do that. Xiang Zedong's face turned green and red. He glared sharply at her and said aloud, If you don't do it, who else can do it? This is the album you made. Only you and your assistant have the material. Even Qin Yu doesn't have it. If it weren't for you, then it's Zheng Zhilan. Speaking to this point, Xiang Zedong suddenly thought of something and laughed mockingly. But that may not be the case. You've hooked up with so many men. Who knows if you'll show off your work to one of them? And they posted the material. The door to the office was suddenly kicked open by someone. Han Yuanjun walked inside with a sullen face and stared straight at Xiang Zedong. Liang Zixuan, hooked up with many men? She even leaked the material to them? What evidence do you have? Xiang Zedong was so scared that he immediately lowered his head and whispered, Other people see it with their own eyes. Other people? Han Yuanjun smirked. Which other people? Ask her to come here and confront Liang Zixuan. Xiang Zedong was frightened. How could he dare to say Sun Jia's name? Furthermore, this matter wasn't the main issue. He swallowed and whispered, President, no matter what, the matter of Liang Zixuan sneaking away the materials is a fact. It has caused serious losses to the company. Han Yuanjun looked at Liang Zixuan. Did something suspicious happen recently? He did not come to question her or blame her, but to ask her if anything suspicious had happened. Everyone present could hear the complete trust Han Yuanjun had for Liang Zixuan. Liang Zixuan recalled, 2 days ago, Zheng Zhilan and I were in the production room, so there was no one in the studio. When Zheng Zhilan came back to get some stuff, she found Sun Jia sneaking around inside. Xiang Zedong jumped in fear and quickly explained, I asked Sun Jia to ask everyone what they wanted to drink, and I also told her to buy it. He then looked at Liang Zixuan. Did you not drink the coffee that day? In the absence of evidence, Liang Zixuan could not say anything. She nodded. Zheng Zhilan and I did drink coffee bought by Supervisor Xiang the other day. I didn't mean anything else by saying this. I'm just saying that Sun Jia went to my studio before the materials were smuggled out. For a moment, no one in the office said a word. They all had serious expressions and thought of their own things. After a while, Liang Zixuan said, President, please give me 3 days. I will investigate this matter, and since this song has already leaked, no matter what we do now, it will be in vain. I will figure out a way to redeem all losses incurred by the company. Liang Zixuan didn't shirk her responsibilities. She didn't say that she was wrong either. Instead, she wanted to investigate this matter first before fixing it according to the situation. Zhu Sheng couldn't bear to see Han Yuanjun punish Liang Zixuan now, so he hurriedly said, President Han, as Liang Zixuan's superior, I also have a certain responsibility in this matter. I want to ask the president to give us 3 days. I will investigate this matter with Liang Zixuan. Zhu Sheng wasn't Liang Zixuan's direct supervisor yet. Liang Zixuan's supervisor, Xiang Zedong, pursed his lips and didn't say a word. It was as if this matter had nothing to do with him. Han Yuanjun remembered Xiang Zedong in his notebook. If this matter had to do with him, he certainly wouldn't have let him go lightly. Even if he didn't, he definitely wouldn't let him go too. All right, I'll give you 3 days. During these 3 days, all the departments will cooperate with your investigation. If you find anything, let me know immediately. All right, Liang Zixuan nodded. Thank you, President. After Han Yuanjun left, Liang Zixuan didn't really want Zhu Sheng to help her. There were so many things in the music department that Zhu Sheng needed to handle, after all. Liang Zixuan returned to her studio and looked for the camera. Usually, every room in the company had a camera installed, but most of them didn't turn on. Liang Zixuan wasn't sure if the camera in her studio was turned on or not, so she called Yao Xiu. "You want to look at the security camera?" Yao Xiu said in surprise and then stammered, "The camera in your studio is always on. When the president is free, he will see what you are doing." No wonder she always felt like someone was watching her. It turned out that when she was at work, she had always been watched by Han Yuanjun. She immediately felt uncomfortable. Ignoring that matter, Liang Zixuan immediately went to the security room and requested the video of that day to be played. The security guard followed the timeline she said and found the video for her. Liang Zixuan looked at the computer screen and finally saw Sun Jia. She saw Sun Jia enter with her own eyes. Sun Jia was looking around sneakily, took out the USB drive from her pocket, and inserted it into the laptop. However, due to the distance, Liang Zixuan couldn't see what she touched. But it didn't matter. As long as she had this, it's already sufficed. "Can you please send this video to the president's email?" "Thank you." Sun Jia really touched our computer? Zhang Zhilan gritted her teeth in anger. I already said that there was something wrong with her that day. If I search her body, this wouldn't have happened. Liang Zixuan smiled indifferently. What has happened has already happened. There's no point in saying that. Besides, this isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself. Zhang Zhilan pouted. The more you talk, the more I blame myself. I've already noticed that something's wrong with her. Liang Zixuan patted her shoulder. Zhilan, not only is this not your fault, but I also want to thank you. If you didn't see Sun Jia that day, we wouldn't have guessed her so quickly. Zhang Zhilan's face finally broke into a smile. If you say that, then I feel much better. She paused and suddenly asked, Zixuan, don't you have a bet with Jiangning? Do you think she has something to do with this matter? Without even thinking about it, Liang Zixuan shook her head. No, Jiangning is very arrogant. In her heart, it was impossible for me to win against her, so she wouldn't do such a despicable thing to me. She then crossed her arms and thought for a moment. I don't understand. If it was just stealing material, I could still understand it. But why do they say that I copied Wei Xiaoqing? And this post has been forwarded millions of times, and Wei Xiaoqing's name rises to the top again. Don't tell me this person wants to take this opportunity to light a fire. No matter how I think about it, the only person who benefits from this is Wei Xiaoqing. So this thing definitely has something to do with her. After listening to Liang Zixuan's thoughts, Zhang Zhilan only understood one thing, that this matter had something to do with Wei Xiaoqing. Liang Zixuan and Zhang Zhilan returned to the office. Seeing Sun Jia looking at them with evasive eyes and seeing how afraid she was, Liang Zixuan sneered in her heart. She walked over and sat down in her own seat. By the way, Zhilan, Liang Zixuan suddenly raised her voice to Zhang Zhilan, who was sitting at another desk. Did you get the video that I sent to you? Zhang Zhilan was stunned for a moment. Didn't Liang Zixuan say that she would mail it to Han Yuanjun? Had she forgotten? Zhang Zhilan stood up, ran to Liang Zixuan's desk, lowered her head, and whispered, Didn't you say you would send it to the president? I'm sure you didn't ask me. Liang Zixuan winked at her, then deliberately stood up and put her face close to Zhang Zhilan's ear. She whispered to her, I'm telling you, I'm just trying to trick Sun Jia. Please cooperate with me. Sun Jia's heart thumped when she saw how cautious they were and how they were talking. They shouldn't be able to find out anything, right? She held the mouse tightly in her right hand, trying to calm herself and ignoring Liang Zixuan and Zhang Zhilan. However, she could not help herself and wanted to hear what they had to say. Suddenly, Liang Zixuan turned her head and glanced at her. Sun Jia immediately felt goosebumps all over her body. Taking the opportunity, Liang Zixuan placed her hands on the desk and leaned forward. Suddenly, a few words floated towards Sun Jia. Wei Xiaoqing, Wei Guwei. At this moment, Zhang Zhilan pushed Liang Zixuan away and smiled. Evidence has been sent to the president's mailbox. We will just wait for the president to decide how to deal with her. But I just asked Lawyer Xiao about this, and he said we had lost several million, and this is already a criminal offense. We can go to court and sue her for it. Not only will she have to pay for the losses, but she will also go to jail. Zhang Zhilan's voice was not very loud, as if she had deliberately lowered it, but in her excitement, she accidentally raised her voice. Zhang Zhilan was acting so well that Liang Zixuan mistook her as an actress. After saying that, Zhang Zhilan unconsciously glanced at Sun Jia. Coincidentally, her eyes met Sun Jia's. Sun Jia was frightened out of her mind and quickly turned her gaze away. Liang Zixuan pushed Zhang Zhilan's face and warned, "Don't look, she might find out." Zhang Zhilan replied with an "oh," and immediately retracted her gaze. Sun Jia could no longer remain calm after that. She grabbed her phone and ran outside. Seeing that, Liang Zixuan gave Zhang Zhilan a look, and they both followed Sun Jia with modest speed. Sun Jia did not dare to go to the toilet. She walked to the staircase. Afraid of being seen, she deliberately walked up half a floor and stood in the corridor between the two floors. With trembling hands, she took out her cell phone and hurriedly dialed Xie Yin's number. Hey, even though she lowered her voice, it was still very loud in the spacious corridor. Liang Zixuan and Zhang Zhilan stood below her, and coincidentally, their figures were covered by a corridor. Sun Jia's voice could still be heard clearly. Liang Zixuan took out her phone and pressed the record button. Xie Yin, what's going on? Didn't you only ask me to smuggle out the materials? Why is this related to Wei Xiaoqing and Wei Guowei? Are you trying to hurt me? Because of what happened before, those two people have a bad reputation online. Liang Zixuan was able to beat them up so badly before. I'm sure she'll beat me to death this time. Xie Yin laughed over the phone. What are you worried about? What does Liang Zixuan know? At most, I just used a fake number and she won't be able to find anything. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with us. Sun Jia immediately became anxious. Who said that? Let me tell you, Liang Zixuan seems to already know that I was the culprit. The last time I went to her studio, Zhang Zhilan ran towards me. A while ago, when they were talking, I quietly heard the names of Wei Xiaoqing and Wei Guowei. They must have known the truth. And I also heard from them that this matter had caused huge losses to the company. I had committed the crime of stealing the company's secret, and they had sent evidence to the president's office. Xie Yin obviously did not believe her. Sun Jia, were you deceived by Liang Zixuan? How long had it been since she found out about this? Besides, did she have any evidence? Does she have evidence of you stealing her material? Or is there any other evidence? Firstly, Xie Yin had already left the company, so Liang Zixuan would never suspect her. Secondly, she wasn't the one who stole the things, and she wasn't the one who posted them online, so it was impossible to find her. She left Han Group Media and didn't want to give up on being a musician. Still, no entertainment company wanted to hire her, and she also didn't want to do another job. Last week, she received an anonymous call from someone asking her if she could steal a song written by Liang Zixuan for Qinyu. At that time, Xie Yin did not want to pay attention to the man, but the man immediately told her, "Since you helped me with this, I will give you 200,000. Now, I can pay a deposit of 10,000 yuan in advance. No matter whether you settle it or not, all this money will be yours." At first, Xie Yin suspected it was a scam, but she did receive 10,000 in less than 5 minutes. She was overjoyed. If this matter were successful, she wouldn't have to worry about not going to work for 2 years. She immediately contacted Sun Jia, asking her to steal Liang Zixuan's song. When Sun Jia heard Xie Yin's attitude, she felt cold running down her spine. Only then did she realize Xie Yin had taken advantage of her. Xie Yin, you better worry about yourself. Let me tell you, if I get found out, I definitely won't let you off. Even if she died, she had to grab a scapegoat, especially since Xie Yin was the one who instigated her to do it. Sun Jia hung up the phone, took a deep breath, and walked down the stairs. After walking down a few steps, she saw Liang Zixuan and Zhang Zhilan standing there, looking at her with malicious smiles. She was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. What are you doing here? Liang Zixuan shook the phone in her hand. If we're not here, how will we get evidence of your collusion with Xie Yin? Sun Jia's heart thumped, and her face instantly turned deathly pale. Her legs went soft, and she almost fell to her knees. Liang Zixuan, you bitch. Sun Jia jumped down the stairs like a lunatic and was about to snatch Liang Zixuan's phone. Don't be fooled by Zhang Zhilan's usually submissive attitude, as if she were a coward. At this moment, she suddenly stood in front of Liang Zixuan, grabbed Sun Jia's hand, and twisted it. Sun Jia immediately cried out. Zhang Zhilan was really strong. Even Xia Yin had never been her match before, and now Sun Jia was even less. It had only been a single strike, and Sun Jia couldn't move at all. You two bastards, let me go. Are you listening to me? Or will I sue you for bodily injury? Sun Jia's face twisted in pain as she continued to scream. Liang Zixuan walked around Zhang Zhilan and stopped in front of Sun Jia, waving her cell phone in front of her. Sun Jia. With this, who knows which one of us will go to jail first? Sun Jia, the crime of stealing trade secrets is not small. You. Sun Jia looked at the phone right in front of her eyes, but there was nothing she could do. She could only look at it helplessly, feeling angry and discouraged at the same time. She said, Liang Zixuan, Xia Yin told me to do this. She said I just needed to sneak the materials, and I didn't expect her to make it so big. If you want to sue, just sue her. It has nothing to do with me. With an indifferent smile, Liang Zixuan said, Xia Yin definitely won't be able to escape. As for you, she shrugged. It's not up to me to decide. It's up to the president to decide. Pre-president. Sun Jia cried. The president has always been a man of his word. If he knew I was doing it, then I would definitely die. He will hand me over to the police. She cried bitterly, but Liang Zixuan and Zhang Zhilan did not sympathize with her at all. Sympathy for the bad guys could only add fuel to the fire. Liang Zixuan put the phone back in her pocket carefully, then asked Zhang Zhilan to let go of Sun Jia. This will depend on the president's attitude. If you go to his office now and tell him everything you know, he might punish you lightly on account of you turning yourself in. Although dismissal is certain, he might not sue you in court. Think about it. Liang Zixuan took a few steps before she suddenly stopped. She patted her pants pocket where her phone was located and said, Even if you didn't turn yourself in, I still have the evidence. Sun Jia watched as Liang Zixuan's figure gradually disappeared into the distance. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed on the ground. She knew that this matter could not be avoided. Regardless of whether she turned herself in or out, she would not have a good ending. She hated Xia Yin to the core right now. When Xia Yin was looking for her help, she said it nicely, but now that something had happened, she decided to leave her life and death just like that. At this thought, traces of hatred appeared in Sun Jia's eyes. She bit her lower lip hard and got up from the ground. She then walked firmly towards the elevator. When the elevator reached the top floor, Sun Jia went straight to the president's office. Yu Yin immediately stopped her. What are you doing? If you have something to ask your immediate superior. Don't come looking for the president. He is busy. Sun Jia looked at her with an impatient tone. Move. I have a very important matter to attend to. What things can you talk about? Yu Yin looked down at her nails. Her tone was arrogant, as if she didn't take Sun Jia seriously. Sun Jia was very anxious. She was afraid that Han Yuanjun had seen the evidence that Liang Zixuan passed on to him. If that were the case, it would be useless no matter what she did. She raised her hand to push Yu Lin away. I said, it's a very important matter. Move aside. Sun Jia. Yu Yin pushed her hand away and poked Sun Jia's shoulder with her finger. Who do you think you are? Do you think the president can see you whenever you want? If the CEO of another company wants to meet President Han, they must make an appointment first. I really have urgent matters to attend to. Sun Jia refused to give up, and she had lost her patience. Although our relationship isn't too good, we've talked for a while. Let me in. Su Yong immediately came forward. Yu Yin, go inside and inform the president. Ask him if he wants to see her. Why are you wasting time here? Yu Yin shot a disdainful glance at Su Yong before snorting. Don't you usually not talk to me? What's the point of being nosy now? Su Yong was rendered speechless and cursed. You're crazy. Then she stood up and walked toward the president's office. Yu Yin pulled her back and viciously said, I already told you, don't meddle in other people's business. Did you not hear me? Su Yong finally saw the light. Yulian normally looked down on employees below manager level, but she would not deliberately make things difficult for them. At most, she would throw a cold face at them before going in to report. However, at this moment, Su Yong felt as though Yulian was trying to stop Sun Jia here on purpose. She shook off Yulian's hand and said with a forced smile, "Yulian, could it be that you're up to no good again?" Yulian frowned and was about to quibble when Su Yong turned around and asked Sun Jia, "What's the matter? Why don't you talk to me about it?" Sun Jia was now ready to throw caution to the wind and anxiously told Su Yong, "It's about Liang Zixuan stealing the materials." Before she could finish her sentence, Su Yong immediately understood. "Oh, I was wondering why Yulian would stop you. It turns out it's related to Liang Zixuan again." Sun Jia stared blankly at Su Yong, at a loss. Su Yong explained. Yulian and Liang Zixuan had long since become irreconcilable enemies, and previously the rumors about Liang Zixuan, she's the one who spread it. She also said she would kick Liang Zixuan out of the Han group within a month. If Liang Zixuan did not leave, she would have left, but it has been almost 2 months now. Stop bullshitting. Yulian was both angry and guilty. Her voice suddenly became many times louder. What does Liang Zixuan stealing the materials have to do with me? It was all stolen by Sun Jia. Seeing Sun Jia's increasingly cold eyes, Yulian suddenly shut her mouth. Sun Jia smiled mockingly and shook her head. "I'm really stupid. I thought Xiayin was the only one who knew about this. I don't think you'll really know about it too. I'm just saying that Liang Zixuan stole the material. I'm not saying that I stole it myself." "How do you know?" "Huh. Yulian, you don't have to argue about this. You definitely have a role to play in this." With that, Sun Jia pushed Yulian away. Yulian immediately grabbed her hand again. "You can't go inside." "Sun Jia, let me tell you, if you tell the president about this, none of us will be able to escape." "What are you arguing about?" Yao Xiu walked out of Han Yuanjuan's office. His gaze swept across them and said coldly, "Sun Jia, come inside." Hearing that, Sun Jia immediately pulled her hands away from Yulian. Yulian gritted her teeth in hatred. Even though they were in front of Yao Xiu, she still said, "Sun Jia, if you want to die, don't drag us down with you." Sun Jia stopped and turned back to look at her. "Originally, I didn't know you were involved in this matter. Yulian, why did you stop me?" She sneered and walked past Yao Xiu into the president's office. Yulian stood there with a pale face. Only then did she realize that she had been tricked by that bitch Xiayin. She didn't have any relationship with Sun Jia, and because of her stupidity just now, Sun Jia would definitely drag her down with her, Sun Jia too. Since she was going to die anyway, she definitely wouldn't let that bitch off. Yulian tossed back her wavy hair and walked into the president's office in her high heels as if she was ready to die. Meanwhile, inside the president's office, Sun Jia told Han Yuanjun everything she knew. Han Yuanjun had a sullen look on his face as he lightly knocked on the desk with his rhythmic finger. Seeing that Sun Jia had finished, Yulian also opened her mouth and said, "President Han, I was instigated by Xiayin in this matter, but I didn't participate too much in it. I just helped to stop Sun Jia from coming to find you. And I know another person is involved, and if I say it, will the president count me as guilty?" Han Yuanjuan's eyelids twitched as he glanced at Yulian. "This depends on what you say and how much value it has." "It's very valuable." Xiang Zedong had asked Sun Jia to buy the coffee. At that time, Sun Jia thought it was a chance, but in truth, this matter was already agreed upon by Xiayin and Xiang Zedong. If the two of them felt that this matter would be exposed, Sun Jia would be the only one to take the blame. A trace of a cold smile appeared on Han Yuanjuan's lips. Xiang Zedong really participated in this. He raised his head and looked at Yulian. "This matter is of no value to me, because regardless of whether Xiang Zedong is involved or not, I will not let him continue to stay in the Han group. But since he is, I will make it hard for him until he is not even able to find a job in the future." Yulian was stupefied. What did that mean? She couldn't even save herself? What she said just now didn't count as redemption. Thinking about Han Yuanjuan's way of dealing with traitors, she cried, "President Han, don't do this to me. I've been with you for years. Since I've served you with all my effort, Please forgive me this time. Han Yuanjun immediately frowned. Speak clearly. How many years have you been following me? What do you mean by serving me? You are slandering me. Yao Xiao, who stood to the side, covered his mouth as he snickered. It couldn't be that Yu Lian's brain was damaged, right? It's just that after working a Han group for a few years, she's already said so to such an extent. Anyone who didn't know this would definitely misunderstand upon hearing her words. Yu Lian cried very loudly. She was so sad that it almost hurt. President Han, I really don't make too many mistakes. You won't fire me, right? Han Yuanjun held his head in annoyance and swung his other hand at Yao Xiao. Hurry up, kick her out. She's crying in my place in the middle of the day. It's so annoying. Yao Xiao pulled Yu Lian away without saying a word. Yu Lian wailed like she was going to be beheaded. Yao Xiao threw her out of the office. Pack your things now. I'll give you 5 minutes. If I see you again after 5 minutes, Yu Lian, don't even think about staying in Imperial City for the rest of your life. Han Yuanjun called Liang Zixuan and Zhu Sheng to his office. When they arrived at the top floors, they saw Yu Lian packing up her things while crying. Her face was full of tears. It was as ugly as it could get. Zhu Sheng was surprised. What happened? If you're going to leave, then what are you crying for? When Yu Lian heard this, she raised her head and looked at Liang Zixuan, who was beside Zhu Sheng. She shouted, Bitch, it's none of your business. Liang Zixuan. Did she say anything? Was this person crazy? Zhu Sheng. She should be scolding him, shouldn't she? Su Yong explained on the side. She was fired by President Han. It should have something to do with you sneaking out of the materials. Zhu Sheng looked at Liang Zixuan in surprise. You're amazing. Even the secretary of the president wants to harm you. Liang Zixuan. Could he have said that without a compliment? The two of them walked into the president's office. Han Yuanjun wore a well-ironed suit and was sitting modestly on the boss chair, while Sun Jia stood aside with her neck hunched. Liang Zixuan asked first, Is this matter related to Yu Lian as well? Han Yuanjun nodded. Not only her, but also Xiang Zedong. Zhu Sheng really didn't expect Xiang Zedong to be part of this. He said angrily, This Xiang Zedong, he's usually good at handling matters. I didn't think he would be so daring. Liang Zixuan smiled, but there was no trace of a smile in her eyes. Instead, her gaze was cold. Xiang Zedong didn't like me from the moment I entered the company. I'm not surprised that he participated in it. Zhang Zhilan told Liang Zixuan that Xiang Zedong was a stingy rooster and would never treat everyone with coffee. There must be something behind this. And it seemed like Zhang Zhilan's guess was correct. Han Yuanjun tapped the desk with his fingers. Zhu Sheng, Xiang Zedong is one of your men. How do you want to deal with him? Zhu Sheng took a deep breath. Although Xiang Zedong was one of his best men, Zhu Sheng wasn't soft-hearted either. Stealing the company's secrets is a serious crime. Although he wasn't the one who stole it, he was the one who instigated it. All right, Han Yuanjun's finger stopped tapping on the desk. Cold words came out of his thin lips, making people's bones shiver. Exempt Sun Jia from all her duties in the company and hand her over to the judicial department. After this matter is investigated thoroughly, she will be convicted according to the law. Sun Jia was so frightened that her legs went limp and she directly knelt down. Sun Jia, for the sake of you surrendering to me, after you go in, I will get people to send some living fees to your mother every month until you come out. Sun Jia grew up in a single-parent family. She had only her mother, who was disabled, deaf, and dumb. Her mother barely made a living by helping make toys in the factory. Sun Jia had always been a financial supporter. It could be said that because of her family's condition, she was always jealous of people who had a better family, receiving better treatment than hers. She was jealous of people like Liang Zixuan, who received preferential treatment the moment she entered the company despite having an ordinary identity like hers. Sun Jia felt that it was unfair. From the moment she was born, she felt that God, and even everyone, was unfair to her. Now, when she heard Han Yuanjun say that, she looked at Liang Zixuan angrily. Liang Zixuan, didn't you say that the president would let me off just because I took the initiative to surrender? Han Yuanjun immediately frowned. He couldn't stand people shouting at Liang Zixuan like that. Shut up. You have committed a serious crime, so it would make more sense if you go to jail. If it weren't for Liang Zixuan, I wouldn't be taking care of your mother. Sun Jia immediately closed her mouth, not daring to utter any words to Liang Zixuan, but she felt very uncomfortable in her heart. She didn't want to go to jail, so she crawled off the ground, knelt at Liang Zixuan's feet. She grabbed her feet and sobbed until her voice became hoarse. Liang Zixuan, if I go to jail, then no one will take care of my mother. Without me, she will not be able to live. To be honest, Sun Jia was really pitiful when she cried. Either it was Liang Zixuan or Zhu Sheng. They both looked at her with sympathy. However, sympathy was just compassion. One couldn't be soft-hearted just because of sympathy. Sun Jia, I'm not in charge of this matter. The materials you sneaked this time have caused a huge loss to the company, and this loss is mine to bear. Even I, myself, am not sure if I can continue my job because of this matter, and you want me, a person who owes such a heavy debt, to plead on your behalf? You're making things difficult for me. Sun Jia didn't care about Liang Zixuan's life. She only had a hunch that no one could help her with this matter except Liang Zixuan. I was provoked by Xian. Before I didn't know what she wanted to do, I really didn't know the truth. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please help me. As long as you plead for me, the president will listen to you. He will let me go. Liang Zixuan angrily laughed. Sun Jia, who do you think I am? I'm just a small employee of Han Group Media. Will the president listen to me? Sun Jia cried as she nodded. Liang Zixuan was her only hope of survival. He will. Previously, President Han was so protective of you. As long as you plead on my behalf, he would definitely listen. Liang Zixuan raised her head and looked at Han Yuanjun with a serious face. President Han, I'm pleading for her. Will you listen to me? Han Yuanjun raised his eyebrow and looked at Liang Zixuan. What good acting? Liang Zixuan coughed lightly. See, the president doesn't even want to bother with me. How could he listen to me? Sun Jia still wanted to say something, but Liang Zixuan shook her head. It doesn't matter if you know what Xian did or not. You still stole the song, so you must be responsible for it. Instead of begging me here, you should think about why you came to this point. Han Yuanjun was already getting impatient and shouted at Yao Xiao. Yao Xiao immediately came to his office. Call the police and take her away. Shen Wan will take care of the rest. Yao Xiao looked at Sun Jia and had no sympathy for her at all. He pulled her off the ground and dragged her towards a door. Sun Jia immediately cried out loud. President Han, I was wrong. Please forgive me for this once. Yao Xiao forcibly shut the door with a bang, leaving the office silent. When he pulled Sun Jia away, he even went to check if Yu Lian had left. As expected, she still hadn't left. She had even gone to fix her makeup. Su Yong, hurry up and chase her out. Also, explain to the people at the front desk that this person is no longer an employee of Han Group, and that she is no longer allowed to take even a single step into the Han Group's gates in the future. Su Yong and the other two secretaries immediately came to pull Yu Lian and took her belongings. Yu Lian was so angry that she shouted, Don't touch me, don't touch my things. I have to bid farewell to the president. Farewell. Su Yong looked at Yu Lian as if she was looking at a fool. Are you crazy? Even at this point, you are still dreaming? Yu Lian, I don't want to make you leave with such a disgrace. But if you didn't leave, don't blame us for not leaving you any face. With that, Su Yong dragged her by the collar towards the elevator, not giving her any face at all. Yao Xiao looked at Sun Jia and shook his head in annoyance. Say, why do you keep thinking of harming others when you have nothing better to do? Why don't you just be obedient and do your job? Yu Lian and Sun Jia finally had a companion. Along the way, they howled and cried, making it seem like they were being slaughtered like a pig. Inside Han Yuanjun's office, compared to Liang Zishuan's and Han Yuanjun in different expressions, Zhu Sheng's expression was quite grave. This matter has already been ascertained, and now we are mainly focusing on the loss caused by the exposure of the song, as well as the large-scale downloading of the song. How exactly are we going to stop the bleeding and minimize the damage? Han Yuanjun nodded. Director Zhu is right. Tell me, what do you think? My idea is to find the owner of the account, then ask them to delete the post immediately. Then the company will spend a lot of money on Qin Yu's album. Whether it's the MV director, MV's creativity, they all have to be the best in this industry. In this case, I believe that one should be willing to pay for the album. This was indeed the most traditional method, and also the best method for making up for losses. Han Yuanjun turned to look at Liang Zishuan. A faint smile appeared on his lips, as if he was not at all worried about this. He stood up straight and asked her, "Do you have any thoughts?" Liang Zishuan licked her dry lips. Seeing that, Han Yuanjun immediately knocked on his desk. "Where's the secretary? Doesn't she know that someone is coming? Where's the coffee?" Liang Zishuan rubbed her nose. "The one who made the coffee. She has just been fired by you." Han Yuanjun. Han Yuanjun picked up the intercom phone and dialed Yao Xiu's number. Yao Xiu was dragging Sun Jia to the lawyer's office, and after receiving Han Yuanjun's call, he was depressed to death. President Han, Yu Lian refused to leave the secretary office. "I let Su Yong and the others kick her out, so there's no one in the secretary's office right now." Han Yuanjun frowned. "Don't you know how to call for security? All the secretaries are gone, so who will make me coffee now?" Yao Xiu was scared to the point that his forehead was covered in sweat. "About that, I'll send Sun Jia first, then I'll come back to make the coffee." Han Yuanjun angrily hung up the phone. Liang Zishuan always kept licking her lips. It was a hot day today, and she was definitely thirsty. Han Yuanjun stood up. His expression was unpleasant. "You guys wait here a minute." After Han Yuanjun left, Zhu Sheng asked Liang Zishuan in surprise, "We haven't finished our discussion. Where did the president go?" Liang Zishuan shook her head. "I don't know either." After a while, Han Yuanjun came in with 2 glasses of water and handed one to Liang Zishuan. "I don't know how to make a coffee. Here, drink this juice." Suddenly, a warm feeling flowed into Liang Zishuan's heart. Looking at Han Yuanjun's awkward expression, she couldn't help but laugh. "Thank you, President." Seeing Liang Zishuan receive the glass, Zhu Sheng thought that another glass of water was for him, so he hurriedly reached out his hand to receive it. "It's been hard for President Han. I even made you dash." Before he could finish, Han Yuanjun turned around with the glass and walked straight to his chair. When he sat down, he took a sip, raised his eyebrow when he saw Zhu Sheng's hand frozen in the air. He said in disdain, "Yao Xiu will be back soon. Let him make your coffee." Zhu Sheng. As expected, he was just an ordinary person. He could not even drink the coffee made by the president himself. Han Yuanjun looked at Liang Zishuan and said, "All right, now tell us your opinion." After taking 2 sips, Liang Zishuan immediately felt more comfortable. Probably because Han Yuanjun made it. She felt that the juice was very sweet. "Before I came here, I specifically looked at the data on the internet. Now, Qin Yu's song has been posted on Weibo, and it's ranked first. It's even trending, and Qin Yu has become popular." These words immediately made Zhu Sheng's eyes light up. He immediately took out his phone and opened Weibo. It was exactly as Liang Zishuan had said. Some said that Qin Yu's voice was really nice to listen to, while the others scolded Liang Zishuan for copying Wei Xiaoqing's song. However, he couldn't deny that Qin Yu had been able to maintain her position as number one after being online for such a long time. This meant that she was really popular. He raised his head and looked at Liang Zishuan. Qin Yu is really popular, which means that this song is very popular. But right now, there are more important things to deal with. They accuse you of copied Wei Xiaoqing, and whether it's real or fake, the netizens might have a serious resistance towards this song or even Qin Yu's album. Liang Zishuan held her glass and looked at him. Do you believe that I copied Wei Xiaoqing? Zhu Sheng shook his head instinctively. I definitely won't believe it. On the day of your interview, she came over and said that you stole her song. Back then, the president embarrassed her. Han Yuanjun looked at Zhu Sheng and Liang Zishuan. His eyes squinted dangerously. Although Zhu Sheng and Liang Zishuan didn't have any feelings for each other, he just didn't like the sight of them. He knocked on the desk with his fingers forcefully and pulled their gazes towards him. Liang Zishuan, since they accuse you of copying Wei Xiaoqing, I think it's time for you to come out now. Crack! Zhu Sheng heard the sound of his jaw dislocated. Liang Zishuan frowned at the thought, then shook her head. Now is not the time. I will reveal it, but not now. If we reveal it now, then I stole Qin Yu's spotlight. When the time comes, netizens will probably buy Qin Yu's album out of curiosity, but they will do so because of me, not because of her. So, President Han, the person you need to focus on right now is Qin Yu, not me. Han Yuanjun looked at Liang Zishuan and smiled softly. How could he not understand this logic? He only wanted to make Liang Zishuan popular in public out of selfishness. But Liang Zishuan stood at the company's side and thought wholeheartedly for Qin Yu's sake. His little girl was just that outstanding. She was beautiful, sweet, and talented. Right now, her character was on the verge of exploding. What kind of shit did he step on to meet this little girl? Zhu Sheng raised his hand and fixed his chin. He immediately asked in surprise, Liang Zishuan, what do you mean by that? Is Wei Xiaoqing's fake singing true? Yes. Liang Zishuan didn't hide anything from Zhu Sheng. Wei Xiaoqing's album. All the songs were written and sung by me. Director Zhu probably knows the relationship between Wei Xiaoqing and me. We are sisters, but Wei Guowei just wanted to promote Wei Xiaoqing and trick me into making the song for her. After recording it, he named it Wei Xiaoqing, and I can also tell you that she could not sing at all. Heaven! Zhu Sheng wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead. How thick Wei Xiaoqing's skin was to be able to make things so outrageous. The most ridiculous thing was that Wei Xiaoqing dared to say that Liang Zishuan had stolen her song in public. Ha! How laughable. Sigh, that's not right. Zhu Sheng suddenly thought of something. But at that time, she even sang on the stage and played the guitar. Liang Zishuan took a sip of her juice and gave a faint laugh. The party usually has a spare microphone, as you all know. Before she got on the stage, she asked for the spare microphone and gave it to me. I was standing in a secluded place, just like a pair of springs. Zhu Sheng heard this, and a cold sweat broke out on his palms. He really didn't expect that such a heaven and earth difference in treatment would occur from the same father. It was as if Liang Zishuan had just been picked up from the outside. Something happened back then. Luckily, I bumped into the president. He knew about Wei Xiaoqing and me, so he asked me to come to Han Group Media. Zhu Sheng finally understood why Han Yuanjun suddenly started focusing on Qin Yu. He found a movie for her. At the same time, her album also began to prepare. It turned out that he did that to support Liang Zishuan behind the scenes. Han Yuanjun was angry. Why did the two of them ignore him the moment they started talking? Asterisk, dong. Dong. Dong, asterisk. The desk was knocked again. Liang Zishuan and Zhu Sheng turned to look at him. Han Yuanjuan's eyes darkened, and he seemed to be unhappy. Then what do you want to do? I have a bold idea, but I don't know if it will work. You all can listen to it first. If it doesn't work, then just pretend I never said it. Han Yuanjun looked at Liang Zixuan with interest. Tell me about it. Didn't that account say that I copied Wei Xiaoqing? Then let him show the proof that I copied her. I wrote her song before and I know every inch of it. They can't produce proof at all. Then, we will find a professional musician to compare this song with the previous Wei Xiaoqing song. Originally, Director Zhu had the most authority in this matter, but because I am currently an employee of Han Group Media, and in order to avoid suspicion, Director Zhu can't appear, so I have to ask the president to ask a person with a great reputation in the music industry to help me appraise it. It's best if this person is very famous, to the extent that everyone knows about him. Liang Zixuan paused here and then smiled. Since the main song has been leaked, it doesn't matter. We can take out another song from the album and create a single. All the major music apps will be released together, and the company will use that opportunity to promote this song for free. Free? Zhu Sheng raised his head and facepalmed. Then wouldn't we suffer even worse losses? In the short run, yes. Liang Zixuan nodded. However, since the main song has been leaked, many people have fallen in love with this song, and Qin Yu's fame has also increased a lot. If we get another song in this album for free, will the people who liked her song before go to download it? Han Yuanjun raised his eyebrow. Definitely. Liang Zixuan laughed. And it's not just these people. Because it's free, it will attract a huge wave of traffic. At that time, Qin Yu will be the real hot one. Han Yuanjun was pleasantly surprised to find out that not only did his little girl write songs, she was also an expert in promoting them. Zhu Sheng's face turned red when he heard that. His eyes flashed with stars, and then, as long as this single is recorded in the album, this single will occupy the top list, then the overall quality of the album will leave an impression in the hearts of the audience. I believe that this album will be worth more than we previously thought. Liang Zixuan took another sip of her drink and said, "We don't have to fight at all. We will focus on the long haul. This time, it's a blessing in disguise." Zhu Xing nodded happily. Yes, you're right. In addition to the promotion for our album and the movie Girl of the Rose, Qin Yu's name will definitely become hot. Even the movie will be trending. Han Yuanjun immediately decided. All right, we'll do as you say. Seeing Han Yuanjun's and Zhu Sheng's faces filled with certainty, Liang Zixuan touched her forehead and said guiltily, "Do you really trust me that much?" The prerequisite for this plan to be successful is that the single must be in the top position. Is it really possible? Hey, Zhu Sheng, who was such a germaphobe, couldn't help but pat Liang Zixuan on the shoulder to comfort her. I've heard all the songs on that album. There's no problem with it at all. Your songs are top quality. Han Yuanjun glared at Zhu Sheng's claws and resisted the urge to kick him out. He nodded. I do not doubt your talent. Now, I will have someone contact the major music apps, and we will definitely release the song next Monday. Because news of Qin Yu's lead song had been leaked, had garnered a lot of popularity, Han Yuanjun believed that Qin Yu would replace Wei Xiaoqing's place as the new Jade Girl once they released another single. He couldn't help but take another glance at Liang Zixuan. This little girl had some ability. She was able to turn the tables in adversity. Such wisdom was something that even he couldn't compare to. Director Zhu. Han Yuanjuan's sudden voice frightened Zhu Sheng. He looked at him blankly. Han Yuanjuan's brows slightly furrowed, while his face was filled with an inviolable majesty. Zhu Sheng felt his heart thump as he watched him thinking. What just happened? Why was Han Yuanjun looking at him like that? He felt a chill run down his spine. He was a little scared. Liang Zixuan, who was sitting next to Zhu Sheng, touched her forehead and glared at Han Yuanjun. As if he didn't see that, Han Yuanjun asked with a cold expression, Xiang Zedong is gone. Who do you want to choose as the new director of pop music? Zhu Sheng sighed in relief, but Han Yuanjun still looked at him, and he felt his scalp tingle. He lowered his eyes and thought about it seriously before saying, according to experience, Zimu is the most suitable. He's very well known in the music industry, and he's also a solid person. There are principles in the way he does things. Han Yuanjun interrupted him coldly. How about Liang Zixuan? Huh? Zhu Sheng was stunned for a moment and unconsciously turned towards Liang Zixuan. Thinking that they were evaluating her in front of her, Zhu Sheng was a little embarrassed. Liang Zixuan is talented. Although she's not yet famous, I believe as long as Qinyu becomes popular, Liang Zixuan's reputation will become widespread, but she is too young and does not have enough prestige in the company. In my heart, I feel that her ability is enough. Still, with her current relationship with her colleagues in the department, she will definitely not survive if she becomes a director. Liang Zixuan immediately agreed. Yes, I'm new. Not only am I young, but I also don't have enough qualifications. More importantly, I don't want to be a supervisor. For my current plan, I don't want to be in that position. I just want to make music wholeheartedly. Han Yuanjun looked at Liang Zixuan and thought, is this girl not ambitious? Or is she just not that ambitious in the company? He wasn't sure, but he knew that she never lied. Since she had already said, he wouldn't force her. All right then. According to what Director Zhu said, Zimu will take over Xiang Zedong's position. Zhu Sheng rubbed his hands happily. Luckily, Han Yuanjun didn't make things difficult for him. Just as he was rejoicing, Han Yuanjun suddenly said, from now on, Liang Zixuan is not under the control of any of the music department supervisors, and Director Zhu will be her boss. No matter what happens, she doesn't need to tell anyone and ask for their opinion. She only needs to find you directly. Zhu Sheng, Liang Zixuan. What was the difference between this and becoming a supervisor? Oh, there's a difference. The difference was that Liang Zixuan was different from the other supervisors. She didn't have anyone under her. Liang Zixuan stared at Han Yuanjun speechlessly. Don't think that she didn't know. Han Yuanjun just didn't want her to come into direct contact with Zimu. Liang Zixuan and Zhu Sheng stood up, but as they were about to leave, Yao Xiu came in with a tray. Seeing them standing, Yao Xiu asked, are you guys going to leave? Liang Zixuan looked at him with a sullen expression as he carried the tray. Yes, we've finished our discussion. We'll leave now. Yao Xiu took a step to the side and made way for them at the door, then replied with a dejected "Oh." Liang Zixuan felt sorry for him. She guessed that Han Yuanjun would definitely scold him after they left. She walked over and picked up one of the cups of coffee. She finished it in one gulp, put the cup down, and smiled. Zhu Sheng was already thirsty. Seeing that Liang Zixuan had already drunk her fill, he walked over and picked up another cup. After drinking it to the end, he let out a sigh of relief. Yes, it's delicious. Thanks for your help, Yao Xiu. Yao Xiu was moved to tears. He almost threw away the tray in his hands and cried while hugging Liang Zixuan. It was the president's wife who understood her husband's subordinates the most. Now, he could finally explain it to Han Yuanjun. After Liang Zixuan and Zhu Sheng left, Yao Xiu raised his head and puffed out his chest as he placed the remaining cup of coffee in front of Han Yuanjun. He said with pride, I made a delicious coffee. President, try it. It was personally appraised by your future wife. Han Yuanjun was both angry and amused. He picked up the cup of coffee and took a sip, then looked at him with narrowed eyes. It's not bad. Yao Xiu was so happy that he wanted a somersault 3 times on the spot. He was grateful to Liang Zixuan as he stood there giggling foolishly. After putting down the coffee cup, Han Yuanjun's expression instantly turned serious. Did you finish the trouble you gave to Wei Guowei last time? Yao Xiu's hand, which was hanging by his side, slightly trembled. He carefully answered, it's done. Originally, I wanted to ask for your opinion, but now, it looks like something has happened. Suddenly thinking of something, Yao Xiu immediately said excitedly, Wei Guowei has been looking for a movie company these 2 days and wants to invest in a movie for Wei Xiaoqing. But I heard that due to the small amount of money he gave and Wei Xiaoqing's current reputation, no one is willing to help him. I think that Liang Zixuan's matter was purposely done by them. They wanted to heat Wei Xiaoqing a little before going to the movie company to discuss it. Han Yuanjuan's long and narrow eyes narrowed into a dangerous arc. It seems like he wants to borrow my Han group's power. Wei Guowei's calculations are pretty good. Yao Xiao asked. Then, should we give him a fatal blow this time? No need. Han Yuanjun raised his eyebrow. We won't cause any trouble for Wei Guowei. Tell Kexliai's manager to let them take the offer if Wei Guowei comes to them again. This time, let them choose the investment money and earn some money. Yao Xiao knew what Han Yuanjun was planning as soon as he heard this. He silently praised Han Yuanjun in his heart. Sure enough, you can't use any reasonable means to deal with such a bastard. During dinner time, Wei Guowei received a call from Kexliai's general manager, Tao Zemin. The other party was willing to take his investment, and as long as the money was in place, the movie will begin immediately. Before, when Wei Guowei begged for them, he had a flattering look on his face. Now, he put on his boss's air seeing that the other party agreed to his offer. What? Seeing that our Xiaoqing rose again, you guys came rushing over? Let me tell you, Wei Guowei, have a lot of money, but back then, you guys looked down on me and really didn't put me in your eyes. Now, look who comes running to me. Tao Zemin was mocked and ridiculed by Wei Guowei. He was so angry that he wanted to hang up the phone. If it weren't for Yao Xiao personally calling him, he wouldn't have come to Wei Guowei to take revenge. Although Kexliai was not big, it was still considered a well-known entertainment company in the entertainment circle. Furthermore, they had been under the protection of the Han Group for many years and had developed well. Tao Zemin suppressed the discontent in his heart as he smiled and said, "It's all a misunderstanding. Back then, my assistant wasn't in a good mood. I apologize on his behalf. Look, about the movie dash. My answer is no." Wei Guowei was very proud to see the other party come begging him. Wei Xiaoqing was so anxious that her eyes were about to turn red. She tried her best to give Wei Guowei a meaningful glance. Wei Guowei didn't know much about the entertainment industry, but Wei Xiaoqing did. Besides the Han Group, Kexliai was already the best entertainment company. Since they had already called her, given that Wei Guowei's answer was very arrogant, how could she not be anxious? Wei Guowei gave Wei Xiaoqing a comforting look, then said to Tao Zemin like a big boss, "Since you are so sincere and want to cooperate, I'll reluctantly agree. If you get your assistant to contact me tomorrow, I'll give all of you 30 million first. When the movie starts, I'll give all of you the remaining 50 million. Tao Zemin cursed in his heart. Who cares about your 80 million yuan? With a flattering smile, he said, "Okay, we have a deal then." After hanging up, Wei Xiaoqing asked anxiously, "Dad, how was it?" Wei Guowei put his phone on the table and laughed complacently. "With your current reputation, and I've invested so much money, wouldn't they be fighting over it? Now it's their turn to beg me." Wei Xiaoqing was relieved. She was really afraid that Wei Guowei would forget and mess up her hard-earned opportunity. Jiang Huifang wiped her mouth and said, "Xiaoqing, just watch. This time, you will definitely succeed in your transformation. After the movie is finished, you will become a hot topic." Wei Xiaoqing took a piece of pork chop and put it into Wei Guowei's bowl, then another piece into Jiang Huifang's bowl. "Thank you, Dad, Mom." Jiang Huifang smiled at her. "Thanking us for what? We are your biological parents. It's our duty to help you." Wei Guowei nodded in agreement. "My daughter can achieve whatever she wants. Xiaoqing, Daddy will give up everything for you to rise high in the sky." They were so happy that they didn't know Han Yuanjun had dug a hole for them. He was currently having dinner at Liang Zixuan's house. Luo Yinyan accompanied them for a chat before returning to her room. Han Yuanjun hugged Liang Zixuan and walked to the sofa with her in his arms. His fingers insincerely touched her body here and there. Liang Zixuan hit him. "Stop messing around. We're watching TV. What's so good about it?" Han Yuanjun smiled and grabbed her hand. He lowered his head and looked at her. "You asked me a question today. At that time, it was inconvenient for me to answer it, but now I can answer it for you." Liang Zixuan looked up at him in surprise. "What question?" Han Yuanjun chuckled. His handsome face suddenly turned down as he kissed her lips. "What kind of answer was that?" Liang Zixuan raised her hand and gently pushed him away. Tell me, what's the question? Han Yuan-jun held her chin and gently rubbed it with his thumb. You asked me whether I will listen to you. Liang Zixuan immediately blushed. Her instinct told her that anything coming out from Han Yuan-jun's mouth would not be good. Sure enough, Han Yuan-jun bit her lips and chuckled. Call me Brother Jun, and I will listen to you. From now on, I'll listen to anything you say. Liang Zixuan's ears instantly turned red from embarrassment. She looked around, but she didn't see anything. She just didn't dare to look into Han Yuan-jun's smiling eyes. She pushed him again and pouted gloomily. I remember that's how Jiang Ning calls you. Han Yuan-jun liked to see her shy look the most, like a helpless little rabbit. She was extremely cute. I just want to hear you call me that. No way. Liang Zixuan rolled her eyes and snorted. I'm not the same as others. I like calling you Han Yuan-jun. Han Yuan-jun, how nice it sounds. Other than me, no one else would dare to call you that. She had known Han Yuan-jun for 2 months. Other people will call him President Han or Young Master Han. No one dared to call him by his name. Even the thick-skinned Jiang Ning didn't dare to call Han Yuan-jun by his name. Liang Zixuan thought this was pretty good, and it showed that she had a unique position in his heart. However, Han Yuan-jun was not satisfied. I call you baby. How about you call me Brother Han? Ugh. Liang Zixuan pretended to puke. It's so cringing. Cringing. Han Yuan-jun looked at her with a funny expression. Suddenly, he grabbed her waist with force. His sexy thin lips curled up slightly, and a warm breath sprayed on her lips. There's something even more cringing. Before Liang Zixuan could react to the meaning behind his words, she was already pressed down on the sofa. She finally understood. No, Liang Zixuan exclaimed in a low voice. My grandmother is still upstairs. If she sees you doing something bad, she'll definitely kick you out. Grandmother won't do that. Han Yuan-jun chuckled. His hands are dishonest as he tried to unbutton her pajamas. If you don't believe me, we can give it a try. Who wants to try? Liang Zixuan hit his hand randomly. Han Yuan-jun, I'm not ready yet. We can't do it now. You've already been preparing for a month. If I don't do something stronger to you, you probably won't be able to prepare properly for the rest of your life. Han Yuan-jun's mouth moved, but his hands were not idle. He easily ripped off Liang Zixuan's pajamas. Liang Zixuan immediately felt a chill run down her spine. Other than her pants and bra, there was no other protection. She was so angry that she wanted to kick him. Han Yuan-jun immediately used his legs to press her down, as if he knew what she was thinking. Han Yuan-jun, you... Liang Zixuan was a little discouraged. My aunt visits me. Don't mess with me. Han Yuan-jun raised his eyebrow. What a coincidence. Liang Zixuan looked away in guilt. What do you mean by that? Han Yuan-jun chuckled. I don't mind fighting in a bloody battle. Liang Zixuan. When Liang Zixuan saw that her trump card was nothing in front of Han Yuan-jun, she panicked. Although she found it difficult to say it out loud, she could only endure it as she shouted in a low voice, Brother Han. Han Yuan-jun suddenly stopped moving and looked at her playfully. What? I didn't hear you. Liang Zixuan puffed up her cheeks and glared at him. She raised her voice a little. Brother Han. Han Yuan-jun scratched his ears. I still didn't hear it clearly. Liang Zixuan hit his shoulders gloomily and shouted while gritting her teeth. Brother Han. The voice was so loud that it echoed throughout the living room. Han Yuan-jun then smiled in satisfaction. Yes, baby. He had just let her go when his cell phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and placed it beside his ear. Grandmother. Brat, it says on the internet that Liang Zixuan copied Wei Shaoqing. What's going on? Old Madame Han's voice was so loud that even Liang Zixuan, who was quietly buttoning her shirt, could hear her. Han Yuan-jun saw her looking at him, so he put his arm around her shoulders and pulled her into his embrace. He didn't have any intention of hiding this conversation from her. Someone is deliberately slandering her. Grandmother, I can use my character to guarantee that Liang Zixuan didn't copy anyone. That's not what I'm asking. Old Madame Han was obviously anxious, Her voice was surprisingly loud. What I'm asking is, why haven't you solved it yet? What is your public relation doing? This has already been going on for an entire day, and I've been paying attention to it the entire time. In the end, you can't even help her. June, it wasn't easy for you to get a wife, and before she even entered the door, you've already lost her. Old Madame Han was distraught. This grandson of hers was a man who did not have EQ and did not know how to coax girls to be happy. Otherwise, how could he have been single for 30 years? Han Yuan-jun looked at Liang Zixuan with a wronged expression and explained patiently. We already thought of a countermeasure at the first possible moment. Grandmother, you have to believe me. How could I let my woman suffer, even a little bit? Old Madame Han finally sighed in relief, but she still warned him. Brat, let me tell you this. If you mess with me this time and let my granddaughter-in-law run away, I'll break your legs. Han Yuan-jun, can his grandmother give him some face? His wife was still here, seeing Liang Zixuan covering her mouth and laughing. Han Yuan-jun pinched her waist forcefully. She groaned in pain and hit his chest. Old Madame Han suddenly sensed something was wrong and asked cautiously, Is she there? Han Yuan-jun answered with a cold face. Yes. Old Madame Han beamed. All right, then I won't disturb you. It's already so late, rest early. Don't forget what we agreed on. After this matter is over, you can bring her home. Han Yuan-jun threw his phone onto the sofa. His handsome face immediately leaned close to Liang Zixuan's face and blew beside her ear. Grandmother said that she wants us to rest early. Liang Zixuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then go back to your house and sleep. Don't you understand? Han Yuan-jun continued. It's us dash. Before he could finish, his phone rang again. He turned his head around, gritted his teeth, and helplessly picked it up. Mom, Tian Chihua immediately asked anxiously, June, why haven't you solved the problem on the internet yet? Han Yuan-jun told his mother what he had said to the old woman before. Tian Chihua was obviously not as easy to talk to as the old woman. June, how did I teach you? As a man, you must not allow your woman to be bullied by anyone. You should make a move at the first moment and teach the other party a lesson. Look at your father. When did he let me be bullied? As long as I suffer a little grievance, he can fight for me to the death. Han Yuan-jun raised his hand and pressed the bridge of his nose. Mom, although you have a good relationship with Dad, you can't always show off your model husband in front of me. Besides, I'm his son, so how can I not know how to love my woman? The infection in my ears is deep enough to the bone marrow. Liang Zixuan was almost laughing out loud at the side. Don't underestimate Han Yuan-jun for being mature and steady in front of outsiders. When in front of his family, he was like a child. Old Madame Han scolded him, and then he was scolded by his own mother. It was as if they didn't believe he could treat his woman properly. The Han family was quite interesting. Liang Zixuan hadn't stepped foot in their residence yet, and each and every one of them had already treated her as a member of the family. These words of defense made her feel warm and a little sour at her heart. Think of her own father. Liang Zixuan felt that they were truly inferior to someone from the Han family. After hanging up the phone, Han Yuan-jun stood up. I won't dawdle any longer with you. I have to go back and do what I have to do. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep well tonight. Liang Zixuan pulled his hand and shook it, saying, Are you not staying here for a while longer? How could Han Yin-jun not see through a little trick? He smiled and immediately sat down. Since you cannot bear to part with me, then I won't leave tonight. Liang Zixuan froze for a moment before slapping him with her palm. Hurry up and go. Otherwise, your grandmother and your mother would have taken your life. Han Yuan-jun chuckled. He pushed her face towards him and kissed her lips. After a brief moment, he smiled and said, Little girl, prepare yourself. After this is over, I won't give you any more time to prepare. He then pinched her chin. I've waited 30 years for this day. Are you really going to let me continue waiting? Without waiting for her to reply, Han Yuan-jun stood up and walked towards the door. She suddenly felt in her heart that this man was worth it for her to give him everything she had. As soon as Han Yuan-jun returned to his home, the first thing he did was to turn on the computer and click on the video calls apps. It only rang a few times before the other party picked up. Xiao Hongya's glowing face was revealed in the video. Jun, have things been progressing? Han Yuan-jun looked at him and went straight to the point. No, I called you tonight because my company's employees needed Grandpa Xiao's help with something. She made an album for Qinyu. The main hit song was stolen from her computer and posted on Weibo, and she was framed for copying another singer. So I want you to help me make a comparison between this song and that singer's previous song, and then help her clarify it. What kind of position did Xiao Hongya have? Every word he said would be more valuable than 10,000 words from anyone else. Xiao Hongya asked puzzledly, isn't there a lot of music people with high status in the country? Even within the Han group, there are quite a few, so their worth should be enough. Han Yuan-jun shook his head with a smile. If Zhu Sheng made the statement, it would not be appropriate since they're the same employees under Han Group and also her director. The public will say that he is trying to cover her up. Even if Zhu Sheng wasn't suitable, there are still a lot of people who could. Xiao Hongya looked at Han Yuan-jun and slightly squinted his eyes. He suddenly asked, her? Female. Han Yuan-jun nodded. Yes. Xiao Hongya looked at Han Yuan-jun with a playful look and laughed. What does she have to do with you? If it's just one of your employees, then I won't appear. You can find someone to do it for you. Han Yuan-jun immediately said in a serious tone. She is not someone. She is my girlfriend and soon-to-be my fiancée. Xiao Hongya exclaimed. Really? Jun, you already have a girlfriend? Why did Han Yuan-jun feel that Xiao Hongya was like his parents and old Madame Han when he heard that he, Han Yuan-jun, had a girlfriend? It was as if they had seen a ghost and were in disbelief. Han Yuan-jun raised a hand to support his forehead. Really, I already have a girlfriend. Furthermore, she's the one with the blue gemstone necklace. I only got to know her because of that necklace. As soon as I met her, I fell in love with her beyond redemption. Grandpa Xiao, since I've been looking for the necklace for you for so many years, it should be okay for you to help me with this small favor, right? Huh? Xiao Hongya laughed heartily. Looks like it's true. For that girl, you didn't even hesitate to play the love card with me. It seems that you really do love her. Wait a moment. After Xiao Hongya finished, he stood up and left. You've never asked me to help you with anything. It wasn't easy for me to get you to talk about your personal life. So how could I not help you? Pass me her song and that singer's song. I'll listen to them first. Han Yuan-jun inserted the USB drive into the computer and quickly sent them to Xiao Hongya. Xiao Hongya clicked on Liang Zishuan's song and listened to it seriously. Then, he said in surprise, this was written by your girlfriend? Yes. Han Yuan-jun was a bit nervous. After all, Xiao Hongya was very accomplished in music. He was afraid that Xiao Hongya would belittle Liang Zishuan in front of him or look down on her. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold himself back. He was afraid that he would crawl through the computer screen to strangle Xiao Hongya. Xiao Hongya pushed the reading glasses on the bridge of his nose. His eyes were full of surprise and joy. I never thought that there would be such an outstanding musician in China. Han Yuan-jun immediately puffed out his chest and felt extremely proud. Of course, why would the people I like be weak? She must be outstanding to the point where even a person like Grandpa Xiao would have a whole new level of respect for her. You, Xiao Hongya glared at Han Yuan-jun snappily. I'm praising her. I'm not praising you. What are you so proud of? Han Yuan-jun raised his eyebrow. Praising her is equal to praising me. It proves that I have good eyes. Xiao Hongya was too lazy to argue with a man who was in love, so he clicked on Wei Xiaoqing's song. After hearing it twice, he suddenly frowned. Jun, that's not right. Han Yuan-jun was stunned for a moment. With both hands on the computer desk, his back was straight. Where's the problem? It looks like your wife really copied this singer's song. Xiao Hongya immediately explained. The style of the song is exactly the same. It was originally all love style, so having a few similarities is not something strange, but I seriously listened to it. In terms of music, these two songs have a long bass at the end of them. The opening sequence is also very similar. Although ordinary people can't hear it, experts can immediately tell. Han Yuan-jun chuckled lowly. If I were to say that all these songs were written by my girlfriend, would Grandpa Qiao believe me? Qiao Hongya blinked his eyes. Looking at Han Yuan-jun's proud face, he immediately understood. So, your wife is being bitten by someone else now. Yes. Han Yuan-jun immediately told Qiao Hongya about Liang Zixuan's family situation. After Qiao Hongya heard this, he fiercely hit his mouse. There's actually such a shameless father in this world. Was this kind of person worthy of being a human? The eldest daughter clearly had a bright future, yet he insisted on discrediting her. How many times had he failed to see the eldest daughter properly? Just for her sake, I will also step forward and ruthlessly slap his face. After saying that, Qiao Hongya moved his mouse. Seeing that the icon on the screen had stopped moving, he sighed in annoyance. I was too agitated just now. The mouse was smashed by me. Han Yuan-jun. He could understand why Qiao Hongya was so angry. In Qiao Hongya's entire life, he had neither a wife nor children. Although he had a family that accompanied him for a long time, they were not his flesh and blood after all. Even he had done his father's duty towards that family. Therefore, he always hated people like Wei Guowei, who had an outstanding daughter like Liang Zixuan, but could not cherish her. The next morning, Qiao Hongya used his Weibo to send a long post. His words of appreciation were all towards Liang Zixuan, and it perfectly clarified the matter of her copying Wei Shaoqing. Of course, according to Han Yuan-jun's request, he didn't mention that these songs were all done by Liang Zixuan. At the end of the post, he actually declared in public, asking Liang Zixuan if she was willing to be a student and study in the United States. Seeing this, the entire internet immediately exploded. One had to know, Qiao Hongya seldom updated his Weibo, and his updates were only a few and mainly about the New Year wishes. He would greet the people of China and pay his respects to the New Year. Although his Weibo account wasn't very updated, it had a large number of fans. It wasn't any less than the current top-tier celebrities. As such, once this post was published, it immediately set off a storm of slaughter on the internet. A lot of people greeted him, asked him how he was, and if he had time for a concert in China. There were even people who were envious of Liang Zixuan because she was able to obtain his affection. However, even more people had pinged Wei Shaoqing's name. Wei Shaoqing, don't think that all the netizens are idiots. The Weibo account with the marketing number is you, right? That person said that Liang Zixuan copied you, and now that Grandmaster pianist Qiao Hongya had stood out to speak for her. Does your face hurt? I vaguely remember that Liang Zixuan is Wei Shaoqing's half-sister, the one who has been oppressed by her all year round. Upstairs, you just remind me of that thing. I flipped through the Weibo page just now, and it really is her elder sister. From the looks of it, Wei Shaoqing's character was not just a little bit worse, it was disgusting. I don't want to see her ever again. I'm afraid that I won't be able to resist and will fall asleep with her boyfriend. TSK, you want to sleep with that trash of a man? Don't even mention laughing. I don't even want to lick his shoes. Wei Shaoqing and that trash of a man should be bathing in a pig cage. After reading Qiao Hongya's post and netizens' comments, Zhang Zhilan grabbed Liang Zixuan's arm with both hands, as if she was shaking a drum. Zixuan, it's Qiao Hongya. That's Qiao Hongya. He wants to take you in as a student. Oh God, I want to go crazy. I want to go crazy. Even until now, Liang Zixuan still hadn't recovered from her shock. Not to mention Zhang Zhilan, even she herself was going crazy. She only told Han Yuan-jun to find a highly respected musician, but who would have thought that he actually invited Qiao Hongya out, and he still wanted to take her as a disciple? Oh God, she probably still hadn't woken up yet, right? When Zhu Shang called, Liang Zixuan finally snapped out of her daze. Zhu Shang's excited voice came through the phone. Liang Zixuan, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and comment on Qiao Hongya's post. Are you courting death? Hurry up and do it. This way, once Qin Yu's single appeared online on Monday, she would definitely be at the top of the rankings. That's Xiao Hongya. People like us who are praised by him in this life will immediately die of joy. Yet, you're still standing there like an idiot. Liang Zixuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She wasn't just standing here like an idiot. She was just so excited that her fingers were stiff. After hanging up the phone, Liang Zixuan took a few deep breaths and then replied to Xiao Hongya, "Thank you for your love, senior. I have no regrets in my life for obtaining your appreciation." Unexpectedly, Xiao Hongya replied to her immediately. "Then, are you willing to be my student? My first and only student." When Liang Zixuan saw Xiao Hongya's words on the notification, she felt like her brain was going to suffocate. Zhang Zhilan hit her excitedly. "Tell him that you want to. Tell him that you are willing." Liang Zixuan looked at her and couldn't help but laugh out loud. She lowered her head and replied, "Senior, I'm sorry, but I have an old grandmother in my family that needs my care. I can't go to America, but I really need to thank the senior for his appreciation. If fate wills it, we will meet." After Zhang Zhilan finished reading, she stretched out her hand to pinch Liang Zixuan's neck. "You're going to die. You actually rejected him. You rejected Xiao Hongya. I'll strangle you. I can be mad with joy if I let Xiao Hongya remember my name. But you rejected him. This is so infuriating. If I don't choke you to death today, it will be hard for you if I didn't vent the anger in my heart." Liang Zixuan gasping for a breath from her pinch. Zhang Zhilan was so scared that she immediately let go of her hand. She glared at Liang Zixuan in disappointment and stomped her feet in anger. "Io, you really pissed me off. I wouldn't even dare to dream about it. You actually rejected him? You really pissed me off." Cough, cough. Liang Zixuan covered her neck and did not get angry with Zhang Zhilan at all. "What I said was true. My mother is already gone. My grandmother is alone. If I leave, there will be no one to take care of her. Yes, this is a good opportunity. I know how many people dream of it, but I can't leave my grandmother alone." Zhang Zhilan instantly squatted on the ground like a deflated balloon, crying but unable to shed tears. True, filial piety comes first. However, not many people in this world can give up such a great future to take care of their grandmother like you. She raised her head and cupped her hands in a salute towards Liang Zixuan. "I admire you." Liang Zixuan smiled. Suddenly, her phone beeped. She looked down to see Xiao Hongya replying to her. He only said a few short words. What a filial child. Not to mention that the internet had exploded because of Liang Zixuan's rejection of Xiao Hongya. Even the entire music department had exploded along with it. No one had expected her to refuse. If it were them, they would immediately book a plane ticket and fly to the United States overnight. Some were happy, while others were sad. When Wei Xiaoqing saw all of this, she angrily smashed her phone onto the ground. She then turned around and cried into Jiang Huifang's arms. "Mom, why was Liang Zixuan so cheap? Every time she saw me about to rise up, she would come out and mess with me. She couldn't see me get happy, could she?" Jiang Huifang's heart ached as she hugged Wei Xiaoqing. Her eyes revealed a deep hatred towards Liang Zixuan. As she patted her daughter on the back, she gritted her teeth and said, "As expected, such a bitch gave birth to such a cheap seed. I don't know what kind of dog shit luck Liang Zixuan has." Even Xiao Hongya stood up to speak up for her. Hearing Xiao Hongya's name, Wei Xiaoqing cried even more. That Xiao Hongya is living a good life in the United States. Why did he try to stir up trouble? "Mom, what should I do? I'm finished." Being scolded like that by the netizens. How could she take it? There were already many people who hated her before this, and now this happened. How could she stand in a higher place? On Weibo, Wei Xiaoqing's face had been slapped and ridiculed. Almost all of the netizens knew about this. She was like a rat crossing a street right now, and everyone was shouting for her to be beaten. Jiang Huifang thought for a moment, then pushed Wei Xiaoqing out of her embrace. There's only one way. You can start sending messages immediately. Wei Xiaoqing's eyes lit up. She stopped crying and picked up her phone from the ground. Seeing that the phone wasn't broken, she happily clicked on Weibo and typed out a post according to Jiang Huifang's instructions. Wei Xiaoqing was pleased with herself, as she had indeed gotten the sympathy of many. However, in less than 10 minutes, a marketing account that had exposed Qin Yu's song also posted an apology. He wrote, "I would like to apologize. Someone contacted me before and told me that Wei Xiaoqing's song had been copied. I was blinded by the site, and before I was able to confirm the truth, I angrily posted the post from before. I have let down everyone's trust in me. Finally, I want to clarify that the person looking for me is Wei Guowei, and the evidence is below." There were a few chat logs pasted on the bottom. Obviously, Wei Guowei had never done such a thing before, because he actually used his account to talk with this blogger, and this blogger didn't give him any face at all. No matter his name or profile pic, he never gave him a mosaic. When a netizen saw this, they couldn't help but burst out laughing, saying that there was actually such an innocent person in this world who had just left while wearing Wei Guowei's skin. Then, Xiayin, Sun Jia, and the others all posted their evidence on their Weibo accounts. Xiayin had a particularly striking sentence. "He used the money to seduce me, and I couldn't help thinking that it wasn't a big deal when I accepted his offer. I finally found out that I had broken the law." The netizens replied, "Heaven has always been there for us. Sister, please let me know when you go inside. Is the food inside improved?" Wei Xiaoqing immediately saw the continuous stream of evidence and saw comments after comments hitting her face. She was completely scolded by the netizens, saying that she had done shameless things and even splashed dirty water on other people. In a short while, Wei Xiaoqing, who had already gotten out of the entertainment circle, was immediately ranked #1 on the search engine. She grabbed her phone and viciously smashed it towards Jiang Huifang. "Look at what you have done. I've been mocked and ridiculed by other people because of your rotten idea." When the phone flew over, Jiang Huifang was caught off guard, and it directly hit her face, causing half of her face to turn blue. She grimaced in pain, but didn't dare to say a word to Wei Xiaoqing. Wei Guowei rushed home and was shocked when he saw Jiang Huifang's face. "What happened? What happened?" Wei Xiaoqing burst into tears. "Look at it yourself. You two idiots have killed me this time." Wei Guowei was extremely unhappy after being scolded. However, he felt sorry for his daughter when he saw her crying miserably. Jiang Huifang handed over her cell phone. "Look at what you've done. You actually used your account to contact that blogger. Now, all the conversation has been leaked by him." Wei Guowei picked it up and looked. It was true. He was so angry that his face turned red. "I'm not a professional publicist. How would I know these things?" As he said that, Wei Xiaoqing cried even harder. "Back then, when I told you to spend some money to hire a professional PR team, you were so stingy with your money. Now you've ruined my future. How can you blame me for this?" Wei Guowei's face turned red from being scolded by his daughter. At this moment, his phone rang. He took it out and saw that it was a call from Tao Zemin. He had a bad premonition. He was about to pick up his phone when Wei Xiaoqing yelled at him, "Is it Tao Zemin? You can pick it up here." Wei Guowei sighed and answered the call. The moment the call connected, he changed his arrogant attitude and smiled ingratiatingly. Manager Tao. If there's anything, you can ask your assistant to find me. No need to call me by yourself." Tao Zemin's tone was neither cold nor warm. "President Wei, about the movie, I think I'll have to apologize to you." "What do you mean by that?" "I've already sent all my money to you. You just need to prepare for the shooting." Wei Guowei immediately said apologetically. "Xiaoqing has already applied for leave from her school. She'll be joining in a few days." As if there was something hard to say, Tao Zemin paused before saying, "We've already finished writing the script and just waiting for the shooting. But just now, the director calls me and said that we could either change the female lead or stop this production." Wei Guowei immediately went panicked when he heard that. "Then let's change directors. Didn't I give you guys so much money? Any random one will be fine, right?" There's a big problem, Tao Zemin said, as if it was a matter of fact. I contacted a few other directors just now, but none of them are willing to lead the movie. President Wei, look at this. Without a director, there's no way for a movie to be filmed. Wei Guowei looked at the crying Wei Xiaoqing. Thinking about how she just said that he couldn't afford to spend money, he felt sad. This time, he was generous. How about this? I will give you an additional 50 million renminbi investment. Can you hire a director? Tao Zemin sighed. It's not a matter of money. The main issue is that we can't invite any famous directors. Then we don't need a famous director. You just find someone who knows how to direct the movie. Wei Guowei said straightforwardly, while Wei Xiaoqing gritting her teeth in hatred at the side. If it wasn't a movie by a well-known director, what was the use of her shooting it? However, she didn't want to lose this opportunity to show her face. There was no reason why she wouldn't show her face. Besides, Wei Guowei was rarely this generous. If she missed this opportunity, she probably wouldn't have another in the future. Tao Zemin thought for a moment and sighed. All right then, I'll try again. President Wei, send the money over first. Once the funds are in place, I will invite the director. After hanging up, Wei Guowei contacted his finance department and gave Kexlei another 50 million. This time, he had invested 130 million into the movie before it even started shooting. His heart ached, but when he saw Wei Xiaoqing sitting on the sofa, looking wronged, he sighed. He walked over and pulled her into his arms. Xiaoqing, don't worry. Daddy will definitely make you famous again. I'll definitely make you shine. Wei Xiaoqing laid in his arms. A trace of jealousy and hatred flashed across her eyes. Then, she put on an aggrieved face and kissed Wei Guowei on the cheek. Dad, I was too anxious just now. That's why I complained to you. You won't blame me, right? Wei Guowei looked at her eyes that were filled with tears and felt his heart ache. It was more painful than the 130 million he spent just now. He smiled at her and said with a voice as gentle as spring, Why would Daddy blame you? Daddy knows that you are the most obedient and doting daughter in the world. When Liang Zixuan returned to the office from his studio, she noticed that everyone was looking at her differently. Now, they were actually looking at her with a bit of envy. Zheng Zhilan raised her head and stuck out her chest as she confidently followed behind Liang Zixuan. The look of envy in her eyes also had a tinge of light to it. Jiang Ning saw Liang Zixuan and immediately put down what she was holding in her hands. She stood up, walked over with her arms crossed, and looked at her, Liang Zixuan, arrogantly. Are you proud of yourself? Liang Zixuan pursed her lips and pretended to be worried. What do I have to be proud of? The movie's song has been exposed, so I'm in a hurry right now. That's true, Jiang Ning snorted coldly. Look at what you've done. You're so careless. And there's actually someone willing to invite you to become the music director. I want to see how you will win against me this time. A meaningful smile appeared on Liang Zixuan's face. Don't worry, I won't lose. She wouldn't lose. On Monday, Qin Yu's other single was successfully released online in all the major music apps. Just a minute after it was released, the number of downloads had already exceeded 100,000. The comments below were unceasing as they praised Liang Zixuan's skills. Liang Zixuan looked at the comments and sighed. She initially didn't want to steal Qin Yu's limelight, but now she had snatched everything away. It was all because Qiao Hongyao was too good at her. He pushed the tide with his hand, causing her to overtake Qin Yu. That day, Liang Zixuan posted on Weibo, successfully drawing the netizens' attention to Qin Yu. The next day, Su Jingxiang released the first segment of Girl of the Rose to promote the movie. With only 2 minutes of the trailer, coupled with Qin Yu's leading song, it immediately attracted the attention of over a wave of netizens. Wow, I really want to fall in love. This is the feeling of first love. Stronger verification here. Chin Yu is beautiful and sweet. She's performing the feeling of a little girl falling in love at first sight. Oh my God, I'm really looking forward to this movie. Hurry up and release it. My heart has been struck. Seeing the netizens' frantic discussion, Su Zhengxiang excitedly called all of the movie's main creators over to the studio. Liang Zixuan and Chin Yu also arrived. Su Zhengxiang first gave Chin Yu a friendly hug. When he reached out his hand towards Liang Zixuan, he suddenly thought of Han Yuanjuan's stern face and contemptuous eyes. Su Zhengxiang's heart immediately skipped a beat, and he immediately retracted his hand in embarrassment. Let's talk about the movie. Su Zhengxiang rubbed his hands, unable to hide the excitement in his heart. I originally thought that it would have a profound effect on the movie due to the leak of Chin Yu's main song, but I didn't expect that the series of godly actions that followed would shock the entire world. He chuckled. After Chin Yu's another single was released, I decided to release our promotional video first. My assistant counted the number of views, and the result made me very excited. Chin Yu and Liang Zixuan looked at each other, smiling without saying a word. It had to be said that Su Zhengxiang had done a good job when the main song had been leaked. He didn't scold or panic. Instead, he stood at the side, watching in silence as an onlooker. After seeing the results, he immediately took action, and a wave of super effective promotions appeared. Su Zhengxiang looked at Liang Zixuan. The production of the movie has already been completed. Next is the promotional phase. Zixuan, you play an important part in this movie, and I hope that you can participate in the later stages of the promotion. As someone who did the soundtrack, why would she follow the promotions? If she went along with them, she would steal the limelight from the actors. Su Zhengxiang was only going to make the stars hate her. Don't worry, I'm not done yet. Su Zhengxiang saw her slightly frowning face and immediately said, I'm not asking you to follow us running around the big cities. I just want you to use your Weibo to report our progress. This was practically tying up Liang Zixuan and Chin Yu for sale. Liang Zixuan silently felt sorry for the male lead, Gu Xingli. Even though the biggest player in the movie was Gu Xingli, Su Zhengxiang didn't want him to bring traffic. Liang Zixuan thought for a moment, then nodded. All right, this is the first movie I've been involved in. I'll do my best. Chin Yu also followed up. Director Su, don't worry. This is also my first movie. Liang Zixuan and I will cooperate. Su Zhengxiang slapped the table happily and immediately stood up. He pulled the two girls up from their chairs. Since that's the case, then go and take a set of photos. I've already found the people for you. I booked a place as well. Let's go now. Liang Zixuan. Chin Yu. Needless to say, the two young girls were really pleasing to the eyes because as soon as they entered Imperial City Film Academy, all people's eyes were on them. This was the school Chin Yu was studying at. As soon as the two of them entered, she ran into quite a few classmates. Many of the students in the film academy had already acted out their works. When they saw Chin Yu and a girl with a completely new face taking pictures on the campus, their faces were filled with disdain. This is our school. Why come here to take pictures? Isn't this Chin Yu too much? I wonder how the principal agreed to it. One of the girls sneered. That's right. How could a second-rate director be granted this access? Look at Chin Yu. She's acting so arrogantly in school right now. Someone in the crowd suddenly blurted out, I'm just curious. Who is that girl beside Chin Yu? She's not bad-looking, and her figure is just passable. Who is this person? She isn't from our school, is she?